welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast, Absolutely Lower League, the show dedicated to everything from the EFL Championship, League One, League Two, the Vanarama National League, and the Vanarama National League North and South. Wow, that is a mouthful now. That is a mouthful. But of course, I could not do this alone, especially considering it is an EFL preview show tonight. So hopefully, if there's any new EFL fans as well, we are so glad that you are here. National League fans, we will be doing ours next week. But for the time being, it is just EFL. So that will be the Championship, League One and League Two tonight. But I could not do this alone, so I brought a lot of friends with me and some fantastic ones I have. Anne, how are you and how's your week been?
I'm really good, really good. Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, it's sneaking up, isn't it? The start of the new season, isn't it? We're quite close, but yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Dale have made a signing today. I'm going to mention it now because obviously we're not talking National League. No National League talk today. But yeah, they've signed a winger, so quite excited for that. I don't really know much about him, but they can usually be the gems that you discover. I remember not knowing a lot about Craig Dawson and signing him from Radcliffe Borough. So I'm not saying he's going to be like Craig Dawson, hopefully not, considering he's a winger, not a centre-back. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the new season. Danny, how are you and how's your week been?
Hello. I'm good. Some holidays are here, so it's hectic, but it's good. It's all good. We're off to Paris next week for the Olympics for 5 days, so we're very excited about that. But yeah, happy to be here as well. Very excited.
I'm so excited for the Olympics. I love the Olympics. The athletics are my favourite. What's everyone else's favourite bit about the Olympics?
Gymnastics.
Yeah, I love the gymnastics.
I like the rowing.
Rowing.
I love a bit of rowing, yeah.
We got breakdancing this year, which is exciting.
Oh, yeah.
That.
Have they?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, I
best
should
I
have
ever is in
entered.
breakdancing.
Isn't darting the next one? Did I dream that, or aren't they getting darting for one of them? It's like, well, it's a pub game. You can't have that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have anything now.
We can all breakdance after the pub as well, though, to be fair.
Yes.
Everybody's a
Love it.
breakdancer.
Rebecca, how are you and how's your week been? I mean, it's the second time we've been in company this week, isn't it? What last was on Monday. I'm hoping I can be a bit more serious today. Probably won't be, but hopefully I will.
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. Been hectic week, but glad to be back on and talking Aki today rather than Everton.
Is Aki a bit more positive than Everton?
Yeah.
Yes, love it. I'm never sure, so I like to ask first and be careful what I'm saying. And Jen, we have the lovely Jen back. How are you and how's your week been?
Yeah, I'm good. It's been a little bit hectic. I fly to Ireland next Wednesday for a wedding. So getting everything ready for that this week and still working. It's a little bit stressful, but we're getting there.
Happy to be talking Markham tonight?
Yes.
Yes.
We're doing all right.
Love it. And obviously as well, I did say for lovely Jen, I think all of you guys and Rebecca, you're lovely too. I promise it wasn't favouritism. When I said it, I thought, hope I don't think they're lovely.
I'm just thinking as well, we're very northwestern tonight on the podcast, aren't we?
Yeah.
We've got 3 from the northwest and me and Danny in the middle.
We've taken over. Northerners have taken over.
Yeah.
It's not usually like that, but I like it. No disrespect to all you other people. I'm causing controversy already tonight. I'm the new Claire. We think Kieran's joining us as well a little bit later into the show. But yeah, I am really sorry to everyone. I know we are on a bit later than scheduled. Me and Rebecca did have her Game 2 training, so do apologise, but thank you so much for being here. Sean has put, we'll let them off as long as one song is not being sung tonight. There is a song I'm going to sing very, very soon. Very soon, actually, but we'll say hello to everyone first. Yes, Birmingham City have entered the conversation. There's a lot of stuff that's been happening at Birmingham, so we will be talking about Birmingham later and all the players that they've signed. Please get involved, everyone in the chat as well. If you do support any EFL club, let us know how business has been this summer. If there's any departures, managerial changes, we want to know everything. Our very own Sam has put, "Evening, everyone. Just got myself a nice coffee and all set for you wonderful people tonight." Oh, thank you, Sam. He was hosting as well in our Premier League show on Monday, and what a great host he is. Love Sam. We've got Simon, evening gang. We will be singing happy birthday because I am the designated Absolute Football Podcast happy birthday singer, I have been told. So I do take this job role seriously. Hello. Barry Joe, we called him, didn't we? Last week.
Barry.
He's called Joe, but we call him Barry Joe. But yeah, without further ado, who wants to count me in and I will sing, because it's our very, very, very fabulous founder of the Absolute Football Podcast, our host, the man who discovered the Absolute Football Podcast. Without him, it wouldn't be here. So it's our very own Josh's birthday today, and we hope he has a lovely day. I don't think he's watching, because on Twitter he did put on that him and his wife are having a very nice curry at the minute, which I'm very jealous about because I do love a good curry. But we can clip it so he feels the love. So who wants to count me in? And join in if you want to. Go on, Andy.
No one needs to sing.
Do you want a 4 or a 2, a 3?
A 4.
A 4, yeah.
Yeah, a 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Josh. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip. Hooray!
Hooray.
We'll just give you the one hip hip hooray because I know you're getting old now, Josh. I had to have a little dig in there because I can't be too nice to you. Don't want to keep doing hip hip hoorays for your age because we'll be here all night and we've got a lot of football to talk about. But we love you and we hope you have a fantastic day. I can't be too nice to him, you see, because he'll think something's wrong. He'll think I'm poorly. But yeah, Sean has put, happy birthday to the amazing Josh. I hope you have a smashing day. Something else I wanted to talk about as well, as we mentioned on last week's show, we just randomly came up on the spot with a new segment. So people give us a name. So last week it was Barry, and we had to come up with our most random starting 11 full of Barrys. So it can be footballers, it can be actors. We even came up with Barry from EastEnders. He was our centre forward last week. So this
Top
week,
talent,
I know, Spennymoor Chris, I think it was, gave us the name Jeff, and it was spelled Jeff. But I just think, should we go for any spelling Jeff, or does it have to be that? Do you reckon?
Yeah, any Jeffs or
Any Jeff. Any
Jeff, yeah. So even Claire, our very own Claire Jeffs as well. That's in her name. So if you want Claire playing centre forward for our team tonight, let us know. But I want you to think of any Jeffs, whether that be, as I mentioned, a footballer. It could be Jeff Hardy, WWE wrestler. It could be Claire Jeffs. Anything, anybody with the name Jeffs in. Later, I will come back to this segment and we want the most random Jeffs. So I will let you all think of that. But first, we will talk football. Finally, Jeff Hardy, Jeff Jarrett, love that. Sam has put as well, happy birthday, you gorgeous old bastard. Yes.
I believe it's Sean in the chat says birthday on Sunday as well. I believe.
Oh, I will sing
Happy
to you and
birthday to Sean as well.
tag you a minute. I'll sing to him. UK are entering Eurovision for next year. You have one vote for me. Yeah, I'll enter the Eurovision. I can't do as bad as previous years, surely.
No, you probably get more points.
Yeah, Claire is a San Marino international. Remember on Where's Claire? She scored a goal last time. Jeff Stelling in there. Yeah, very good, Jeff. We will come back to these a little bit later. Joe has put Tranmere Rovers are going to win the league. Well, you can have your say about Tranmere Rovers a tiny bit later. We are going to start with the Championship first, and I'll come to you first, Anne. Sunderland chat. Just want to know about your recruitment so far. Are you happy with it? Who you've signed? Any departures? I will leave it to you.
Hang on. They're right down the bottom. I hate the start of the season, you know. I said I'm right down the bottom last year. But I hate the start of the season because you're literally like, oh, where are Sunderland again? Oh, they're right down the bottom. So incoming so far, there's only been 3. All been on free transfers. We've got no chance of that. All been on free transfers. We've signed Simon Moore from Coventry as backup goalkeeper to Anthony Patterson, which I think is actually quite, that's quite a clever signing. We need a goalkeeper with a bit of experience. Obviously, it's allowed like younger goalkeepers, Nathan Bishop of Wrexham fame, Burnley, and all of this time last year, and Matty Young, who I mentioned we could go and all that. I think he's going to play for England. I really do. He's a magnificent goalkeeper. And he's so yeah, Simon coming in, I think, is really good backup for Pato and someone who knows the league. He's been around in the league. He's a championship goalkeeper really. So I think that's good. Signed Alan Brown from Preston last week. Again, one that we really needed some. Am I lagging? Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
There we go. Alan Brown. Again, I think it's a really clever signing. We've needed someone in the middle of midfield. A little bit. Again, it's just experience. We've needed that. That's what was missing last year. Quite happy with that signing. He's former captain of Preston. He's been there for 10 years. So he's been in the Championship 10 years. Knows exactly what it's. Really knows exactly what this is all about as well. And then yesterday we've signed Ian Pavetta from Leeds, I think, on a free. I can just remember him being a Man City lad I used to always buy on Football Manager. I remember him last year at Sheffield, and I know they were really, really high on him. So, for him to come as a winger, I think I'll tap that. I'll tap 14. But I think we still definitely need another striker. And obviously, I think a big player will leave. There's rumours of Jack Clark going to Ipswich. If they give us 25 million, I think that's fair. We've seen players like you look at that Ryan Philogene leave Hull, and I think Villa bought him for like 30 million or something, and Clark had better stats than him. So, Clark's worth a lot of money. But we'll see what happens. But I'm quite happy so far. I really am. I think the club itself, though, has got a lot right this year than what they didn't get right this time last year. The kits, I think both the kits, the away kit's going on sale tomorrow. The home kits sold a season and a half worth of stock in a week. It's madness. But the top's just beautiful. The away top's beautiful. I think they've got that absolutely bang on. I'm just really, really chuffed, to be honest, with what we've got so far. We'll get a couple of more over the line. We've been linked with a couple of strikers, been linked with a couple of Premier League players on loan. So we'll see what happens. But I'm quite happy. I'm quite stout with what we've got. And you've got to remember we had a lot of injuries last year, and them injured players will be coming back. We've still got some more. One of the most exciting young players in the league, Chris Rigg, who's going to have another season of experience under his belt. So I think we'll be all right. I really do. I'm going to move rooms as well. 2 seconds, I will be back.
Don't worry.
I can feel me thing lagging on there. I look like a bloody
honestly, do not worry. You do what you've got to do.
I'm gonna change rooms. I'll be straight back.
No problem at all. Danny, is there any club that you're quite happy about their business so far in the Championship? Have any took your fancy? I know, obviously, you're a League One fan, but
yeah, it's going to be a while till I need to talk about the Championship. This is probably the only chance.
You never know. You never know.
Leeds have done a bit of business. I think they're probably the obvious place to start. Joe Rodon from Spurs, who I think they had on loan last season, didn't they? Did really well for them. Obviously, Welsh international. Really strong in the Championship. They've got Jayden Bogle in from Sheffield United as well, who will bomb down the right hand side for them. Did really well for Sheffield United. It's obviously powers on and stuff. I think who else did this on? Joe Rothwell as well from Bournemouth on loan. It's a sensible business for the Championship, splashing the cash a little bit, but there's some good signs for them there. Obviously, they've let Archie Gray go as well to Spurs, and that was a pretty hefty fee. Sinistera went to Bournemouth, didn't they? I don't know if that was a permanent or what, but so they've lost a couple, but I think they seem to be, you know, you look at some teams, you think you're doing the right business for the Championship to get out of it as well, not going over the top and signing these like Premier League superstars just to plonk them in. It feels like they're doing sensible business to get the job done this season. If they can hold on to what they've got as well, then they'll be right up there, won't they?
Yeah, definitely. I know we mentioned as well, obviously, about Bogle going to Leeds and Sheffield United. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but they are getting rid of a lot of players, aren't they? They've signed a couple, don't get me wrong. I know Callum O'Hare's obviously gone there as well, but I know it's not a prediction show, but is anybody else worried this season for Sheffield United? Because I just feel like there's a lot of departures and they're not really signing enough players to kind of have them up there challenging. Does anybody else kind of think that, or is it just me?
They've lost a lot of goals as well, haven't they, with Cameron Archer going? And Cameron Archer's one of these players who's probably not good enough for the Premier League, but too good for the Championship. But he's gone Villa, hasn't he? And Villa signed him. I think that's quite a clever bit of business for Villa as well.
Was he there before? Was he at Villa before that?
Yes. I think they re-signed him. Yeah.
So I think,
but they've done that with a couple of players, haven't they, Villa? Because they did that with Philogene. He was a youth team. I think it'd be something to fix that FSR loophole or something or other. It'd be something along those lines. But I agree with what Simon's saying about Callum O'Hare. He has. He's gone. He's gone
abroad,
somewhere. Hasn't he gone to Alaves or somewhere?
Yes.
In Spain? He's gone somewhere like that, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But I actually agree with what Simon's saying about O'Hare. I mean, O'Hare's always injured. He doesn't quite, get that many goals or that many assists. And he's a flair player, don't get us wrong, but there's better players out there in the Championship. I'm more happy with us signing Alan Brown than I would be with Callum O'Hare, to be honest. Because I don't think O'Hare's got 12 months of playing ability in him. Because I think he always picks up a knee ligament injuries. I think he tore his Achilles, didn't he, as well? Yeah. So he always picks up these really bad injuries. I'm not sure on that one, and I agree with you. I think the outs are a little bit more substantial than the ins, aren't they? Jefferson going to Bournemouth. I think Dan Jefferson's a good player in the Championship. Wes Fotheringham as well, gone to West Ham. Good goalkeeper, Wes Fotheringham. Really good goalkeeper. And he's gone West Ham. They'll probably sit on their bench. So
isn't there rumours as well? Is it Hamer who's there? Did he sign him last season from Coventry? Isn't there rumours of him going as well to a Premier League club? I'm sure there's a lot of interest around him, and he's got a clause in his contract. So it'd be very interesting if obviously he leaves, because I just feel like I really don't want to go too much into predictions because we've got that in a couple of weeks. But I just think they will struggle this season. I don't think they'll be competing at all.
I don't think they'll go up.
No.
And I mean, I'd be more kind of confident if I was a Leeds fan. I think Danny mentioned before, Leeds have quietly gone about the bit. I mean, if they lose Somerville, that's going to be huge, I think. But even look at the other two coming down, like Burnley. Burnley have seemed to have signed everybody again. Luton have still got a very, very good Championship side, even without Ross Barkley's left and everything like that.
They've got a great manager.
Well, yeah. And Luton have obviously got they've still kept a lot of that squad that got them out in the first place, so they'll know what to do. But you look at even some other teams that were there or thereabouts last year have improved.
Do you think of?
Yeah, I think Bury will be up there. I really do. Definitely in the playoffs. I know we're doing predictions in a few weeks, but I think Bury will do all right. I think we'll do okay. I'm not going to say, because I said like this time last year, I was like, oh, we're definitely going to be in the playoffs. I think given the right opportunities, if we sign a striker, I think we'll be banging there. But we'll see. But it's the Championship. There's so many teams, isn't there? Yeah. And there's always a surprise as well that no one will predict that'll get in the top 6. It happens every year.
I know. Any other clubs? I'll come to you, Rebecca. Is there any other clubs you think have done quite well obviously going along their business in the Championship so far, or any signings that you think's like a standout signing of the summer transfer window?
I was going to go opposite way and someone I'm scared for.
Oh, you can go for scared for then, completely.
Well, I think Rovers, they didn't have the greatest end to their season. And then
100%.
they've only signed 2 players, in which both of them are very young players. I think one of them is Doherty, am I saying that right? He's 18. And then the other one is Jack Barrett, who is a goalkeeper from Everton. And they're the only 2 that they've added into their squad at the moment. And then you've got, is it Sammy Smodic being linked here, there, and everywhere?
Yeah.
So it's like if they don't really get a move on with getting a few signings in, depending on if he goes or not. And I did feel as though they did fall off a bit, especially towards the end of last season. I mean, my brother's a Rovers fan, so to be able to message him and give him the grief that he was giving Everton, I was loving it.
Love it.
I think the one thing they've got going for him is John Eustace, though. That's the one thing that they've got positive for him, isn't it? You know, if they didn't have a manager like that, I'd really worry for them. But I think he can get the most out of a lot of players like that, can't he? And what he's got, if he's going to go, I don't think they're going to be anywhere near the top half, but I think he can at least keep them up because he literally just gets the absolute maximum from what he's got, doesn't he?
I think they probably deserve to go down the fact that they're trying to pay the women's team peanuts to play football every year.
Yeah, that's ludicrous.
That's for another show.
Pay them peanuts, but then put every single match on home match at Ewood Park. And
Simon's just mentioned as well that he thinks Coventry will be in the playoffs, and I'm just looking at theirs as well. And I watched a little bit of the pre-season game highlights. I think we're on YouTube the other day. And I didn't realise that they signed Jack Radoni from Huddersfield, and I really, really like him. I think he's a top quality footballer. I think is he franchise player? No, he's Wimbledon, isn't he? Original Wimbledon. And he's a fantastic. Every time I watched him against us, he was unbelievable. So I think that's a really, really clever sign for him. And him there, Radoni is better than O'Hare by a mile. So that's a massive improvement. And he's very consistent. He plays a lot of football. So I think that's a good signing for them. And obviously you've got to remember with Coventry, they're always there or thereabouts eventually, aren't they? They might start badly, but they're always there or thereabouts. And Coventry haven't got this season the bother of not having Gyökeres, not having Hamer to start the season off. So they're going to be as consistent as they were last year. So, yeah, I think they'll be around about there. But again, like we say, we're not predicting this week. So
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really, really hard because you want to talk about it, but then you're like, oh no, I don't want to go too much into it because it'll ruin our prediction show.
Yeah. Just looking as well, Charlotte, teams that have come up as well. Because obviously, Portsmouth, Derby and teams like that, Derby have signed some good quality Championship players.
Very good players.
Like Caden Jackson from Ipswich. Caden Jackson was scoring goals for Ipswich last year.
Yeah,
that's a good sign. Corey Blacker-Taylor from Charlton, good sign. And Ben Osborne from Sheffield United, good quality sign who's been around. You know what I mean? Very good. Like Jerry Yates as well from Swansea, got him on loan for a season. Jerry Yates was like rumoured to be signing for every single team in the Championship last year because he started like a house on fire, didn't he? I mean, it came off at the end, didn't he? But yeah, I mean, I think they'll be all right.
I know in the chat as well, there's a lot of chat about one player in particular. I'll ask you first your thoughts on that. And were we surprised that he did go to Millwall?
Do you know what? He's a gamble, but if it comes off, it's a fantastic signing for Millwall. The bother is with him, we all know. I mean, I would have loved Macaulay Longstaff at Sunderland. You know what I mean? But I think the problem being is, yes, he scores goals. He scored goals everywhere he's been. Hello, Doug, by the way. He scored goals everywhere he's been. But is two leagues up too much of a step for him?
Yeah.
But I wish him all the best. Now he's a Gateshead lad as well. Now he's a mag, but I wish him all the best. I think Macaulay Longstaff might be the next one, like the Vardys of this world. We mentioned a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? His name escapes us, but I just scored for England. Ollie Watkins. I think he might be one of these ones that if they can get it right with him and he starts scoring goals, he'll be in the Premier League next year. But we'll see. I think at the minute it is a little bit of a risk for us because I think we just need that all-around striker who's big, strong, a box-to-box, but doesn't necessarily score a lot of goals, but is around for our other flair players to score goals. Like Ross Stewart, yes, he scored goals for us, but he also set a lot up and made himself, really difficult for defenders. I think that's the striker we're looking for at the minute. Probably not Macaulay Longstaff, but I wish him all the best. As long as he don't score against us. Sorry.
Just going back, obviously, to Smodics, we have got Sam has put that he's been linked with Ipswich, apparently.
See, I think, and I agree with Sam there, I think 15 to 20 million for Smodics, who, let's face it, had one good season.
Exactly.
Is a little bit too much. Now, don't get us wrong, at Blackburn last year, he was absolutely fantastic. Really, and it was really good. I'm glad for him as well, because he's another one who's been around, and done it in League 2, League 1, everything like that. For him, if he hadn't been at Blackburn last year, they would have gone down. The amount of goals he scored. But he was top scorer, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Top scorer, and he played for Blackburn. And I'm not being to be horrible at Blackburn, but they weren't one of the best teams. But he pulled them out the fire so many times. So if they sell him, they're done. I think. I really do think that. But again, I think 15 million for someone. Let's face it, as well. 29 to jump up another league, and we all know the Premier League is a different kettle of fish. I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's good enough.
We shall see. We shall see what happens. Just on Coventry as well, Simon has put, our owner says we have to be fighting to go up, and with some of the decisions he's made so far, I worry if we don't go up soon, he'll sack Robbins.
Well, that's the biggest mistake.
That'd be silly, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That would be really silly.
It's really stupid. Really, really stupid. But we'll see what happens.
And
I feel like saying to Simon, that's what he gets for turning down Sunderland. The amount of time Simon puts everyone got to Sunderland.
Jen, is there anybody that you're happy with at the minute, or anyone you think will struggle in the Championship with the business so far?
I feel like we need to talk about Plymouth as well, because they've been very quiet, and obviously they have Wayne Rooney as their manager now, and nothing's really been going on with them. So I'm slightly worried for next season if they're going to be fighting near the relegation zone again, or if they are behind the scenes looking at players, but obviously not signing them yet. But if they don't sign players soon, I think they're generally going to struggle in the season. And I want Wayne Rooney to do well. I think he's a great guy, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Do you think as well, if a team kind of takes a gamble on Morgan Whittaker, then they are going to struggle. Again, we mentioned Smodics before. If I was a Premier League side just gone up the like of Ipswich or something, I would be looking at Whittaker over Smodics, because Whittaker's younger, scored round about as many goals in arguably a worse team, but he's also got that, if he makes it in the Premier League, he's got that value, sell-on value, that, say if like the likes of Ipswich, and he scored goals for Ipswich and say, right, we're selling for 40 million. Whereas Smodics, if he has a bad season, you probably got him for another 2 years. So it's a strange one. But yeah, I agree with Jen about Plymouth. You look at the players they've signed, and I haven't heard of many of them, but have they really strengthened, and they struggled last year? So
I've heard good things about Sissoko, who they've signed. Was it from Toulouse? It's meant to be really powerful, pacey winger. He could be quite exciting in the Championship. I've not seen a lot of him, but I've heard a lot of good things. They've splashed out sort of 1.5 million on him, I think it was. So they must see something in him. He's the type of player that can, think of like your Dembele is for Birmingham. Was it last season when he was just tearing it up down the wing? I think it's one of these players who will just get bums off seats, and I think it'll be quite exciting one to watch. I think.
Kieran, what?
Hello.
Speaking of one to watch.
No, speaking of one to watch. Hello, how are you? I didn't ask you how you were.
No, good. Had a day out in Cardiff, which was nice. Came back, and I've been here, there, and bloody everywhere. And then I decided, I'll have an hour nap. It actually was an hour nap, which was unusual. Then I clocked on to, okay, show's happening. All set up already. 14 more things I have to sort out. So, I've been in a load of distress, but no, we're all good despite it all.
Kieran, for you, Like, even as your general kind of demeanour, even you sound so unenthusiastic about being on the night. Oh, you know, I might as well.
You know what I'm deciding to do for the remaining of this off season, because it is depressing me quite a lot. I'm deciding to sound even more miserable, and I might consider, and again, this will be a consideration, putting a smile on my face when the football actually starts. We'll consider it. We'll see how it goes.
People in the chat are asking for positivity.
You guys know me by now. I keep the level playing field. You can't be too positive. You know, everything has a balance.
Graham in the chat has put about Plymouth. Plymouth will be fine. 5 signings so far, and have still got Whittaker. As well in the chat. So surprised Whittaker hasn't been snapped up by like an Ipswich or a Southampton. And Dietrich's happy because Bradford have signed one of Plymouth's players who they did have on loan last season. Have you got any thoughts on Plymouth, Kieran? Do you think they'll survive this season? I know, as I keep saying, I know it's not a prediction show, but it's really hard.
It is hard.
Do you think they'll be all right under Wayne Rooney? And how do you think Wayne Rooney will do?
Do you want me to name my 1 to 24 as well?
No, not just yet. Save that for a couple of weeks.
Within credit, I think what Wayne Rooney's got now is he's had a pre-season, or, you know, he'll have the majority of one to kind of see what he wants to work. So he's not, you know, rushed into a job immediately and put into competitive football, which, you know, you can only imagine is a good thing, just being able to test what works and what doesn't. I suppose that they've kept a majority of the team that they lost, the team that they had, rather. I mean, obviously they lost like thin as ass like midway through last season, and you kind of notice their form deteriorate, but they got over the lines. You know, it's always impressive enough when a team that comes up does that. I mean, yeah, other than this Sissoko guy, I've read kind of the same things. Whether it means he'll be, you know, lighting the league up or just fun to watch is yet to be proven. But yeah, you know, not much has changed there. So I suppose there's not much room for that kind of squad to have to gel and whatnot. But I feel the issue that Wayne Rooney's had with his former jobs is that he's not been there long enough to actually set his stones up and make sure that you know what's going on. Probably the closest he got was with Derby, and you know, when you're playing football and managing a team that are already going through things behind the scenes, it's never going to be easy. So it's really difficult to say, because you'd imagine he's an elite player going into management. You'd imagine he'll be able to take a lot of what he's learned under various managers into hopefully what he tries to implement. But yeah, it's really uncertain, because we've not been impressed by what he's done, but at the same time, you've seen certain things he's done in certain games, whether it be,
haven't you?
Yeah, whether it be changes, or you know, you almost notice a change of formation. He's very open to trying that kind of stuff out, which a lot of managers don't have that bravery to do. So I give him the credit for that. You know, he's a lot more of that kind of efficient manager during game when things aren't going well. But I think they'll be all right. I think, for me, there's a lot of teams, or at least, you know, there's at least 3 teams that I'd say are probably worse off than Plymouth at the minute. If they lose,
who of them teams? I'm intrigued.
Who are those teams?
But
Here's my predictions. I'll name you. I'll name you one.
Copy them for prediction show.
don't predict who's going down. Just predict who the bottom 3 would be.
Yeah. So here's the bottom 3 in order. I mean, I'll just give you one.
Mix it up a bit.
I might go 23rd. I might go 22nd, then 24th, then 20th. You won't know what order they are, but like I think Blackburn are potentially worse off. But it'll be interesting to kind of see how the promoted sides do. Although I've been relatively impressed by most of their business, I feel QPR potentially may not be up there, but their signings haven't been, awful to kind of rule me out of it.
We've had a lot of people departing, haven't they, QPR?
That's the thing that I was kind of worried about. The signings have been all right, I suppose, but those departures is a lot of that team that you almost associate with that QPR side.
Yeah.
I mean, if it doesn't become apparent that Macaulay Langstaff doesn't do quite as well as people are expecting, potentially Millwall, you question, do they kind of have that plan B to adapt to their attack? But probably other than that, maybe Stoke. They've not done too much to kind of change what was a poor season last time out. But QPR, I like them. But yeah, I mean, there's a few teams, and I'm not gonna. If I start naming you teams, you'll know where I'm gonna put Plymouth in the predictions. But for example, Oxford as well. I'm not wild.
I think Oxford.
I'm not wild. Like they've brought in players who have played in the Championship. Will Vaulks, Louis Sibley. That's the right signing. That Placetta. I feel it's Placetta from Swansea. That's not a bad deal. But you'll notice a lot of their signings have been from League 1 and 2, and a lot of them haven't been proven at this level. But but drifting away from the question there, but I do feel
you already mentioned half the league team, and it's fine.
Hold on. So I think they'll actually be pushing promotion alongside this team. No, but within credit, I think they'll be all right. I think this for me is the kind of season where Wayne Rooney has to prove himself, and I feel he's done enough wrong to have learnt off of it. And I feel he'll be a relatively stable coach. But I'm excited to look forward to this, or to look back on this in November when he's sacked again. But we'll see how it goes.
I didn't know this as well in the chat. Keep an eye on West Brom. New owner, yes, but very much restricted still on who they can bring in. They could have an iffy season. I didn't realise that.
Yeah, and you've got to think as well, if a Premier League team's struggling at the start of the year, sack the manager or whatever, Carlos Colbrand's going to be a massive shout as well for because there will be someone in the Premier League the likes of, I don't think Ipswich will get rid of McKenna, but Southampton, for instance, or whatever, or even a team who is struggling. Carlos Colbrand in Championship still a fantastic manager for anybody really. So we'll see, but. Yeah, I agree with Keeman about Oxford. I just think, they've signed some decent players, but the player who got them promoted last year, Jacob Murphy's gone to Portsmouth. So I think he's a cracking player. I think he's the better of the two. Even though Josh plays for Newcastle and flying out Newcastle, I think Jacob Murphy's a fantastic footballer. But we'll see what happens with them.
Joe has mentioned, obviously, he thinks Oxford will do similar to Sheffield Wednesday. What are we thinking about Sheffield Wednesday? I think they'll be up there competing. I'm not going to say they'll get promoted, but I think they'll definitely be competing for playoffs. Danny Roll, I think he's a fantastic manager.
Best manager in the league, 100%. I mean, we get to see what Regis de Bries will be like for Sunderland, but for me, outside of the big teams that went up last year, Danny Roll from January, Chef Wed were the form team, and he turned them. I went to watch them when it was Cisco, wasn't he? Cisco was in charge of them before, and we absolutely demolished them. And there were teams demolishing them from, very easy. And the way Roll came in and became that kind of mediator between the fans and the owner, and then the owner and the fans. I think he did a fantastic job. And for me, he was manager of the year. I've got to be honest. I think he did an absolutely magnificent job there. And if he's been given what he wants and looking at who they've signed and stuff like that he seems to have, been given some tools to stay up and everything like that. I think they will be pushing. And I've mentioned before, there's always a surprise, and it wouldn't shock me if they are the surprise.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean by that. But yeah, he's a wonderful manager. Like I would have, he was first on my list for the Sunderland job, to be honest. But I don't think he was bothered about it even because he loves it there. So fair play to him.
Obviously, we mentioned some of the teams that did come down, but we've not really mentioned Burnley. And obviously, they have got Scott Parker. And I actually agree with Simon. I don't really like Scott Parker. I think it was quite an odd choice. But what did you guys think about the Scott Parker appointment? No, a bit deflating, really, isn't it? Even Dan, I think, was a bit like, oh.
This is the thing. I mean, Burnley in the season they did so well in the Championship. They almost adapted themselves for playing this exciting attacking football that Vincent Company implemented. That it was almost when you watch it, especially in the Championship, almost a quicker version of probably what he was playing in the Pep. So it's, there's little bits of ways to what you had seen with that, but now you're just bringing in Scott Parker, and he is probably he's probably the most boring man I've ever heard on a kind of press conference or media stuff. He is just, I listen to him, and his team can win 4-0. And he'll make it sound like they played shit. He just does my head. He really agitates me. And his football's crap. It was he was up.
Yeah.
He was rated within that group for a good while of what Graham Potter was, very much an outsider for kind of management, but always managed to get things done. But I think the difference with him and Graham Potter is that Graham Potter has slightly adapted his football to be at least a little bit more endearing and exciting. Meanwhile, Scott Parker seems that he read a book about football tactics 15 years ago, and he's stuck with that ever since. And he's not read another book since. But I mean, even if he was
to kind of counteract that, though, he has got experience of getting teams out of the league.
He has.
I agree with this. Comment. I like that comment.
Just to put the yin on the eye. I know Company did it really well with Burnley a couple of years ago. Probably the best side, to play in the Championship in the last few years. But also put they kind of chained that up, and was Company at fault for Burnley going down last year because he wouldn't change the tactics? And the amount of goals they conceded when they were just fiddling around on the back and everything like that. With Scott Parker, they've got a manager who has got experience of getting a team out. I actually agree. I don't think they will, but I don't think it's that bad of an appointment.
No.
I think there was better out there. Don't get us wrong. Rosenior for me would have been a fantastic choice for them, but I think they've kind of just went, well, he has got experience.
Yeah, definitely.
But so have others. So
yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think the one thing that really doesn't convince me is that the style of football Burnley have been used to for the past 2 seasons is literally counter opposite to what Scott Parker will try to implement. So if anything, I feel they'll start off really slow. Those first 10, 11, 12 games they'll be a struggle, and if anything, that this league looks to be there's a lot of teams that can go up there. A lot more. It almost feels a lot more open than it has been. You're not looking at those teams that have come down and potentially went there all going straight back up, for example. I just feel that slow start will catch up to them as the season goes along, because to adapt that football in such a short space of time with a group of what is technically really exciting players, albeit maybe they don't have that kind of quality to stay up in the Premier League and whatnot. They're really exciting Championship players. I just feel his football almost varies too much. But I'm open to being proven wrong. I'm very open to that, as I have been many a times, making my opinions on here. So maybe I should start making my opinions, because now they're going to win 46 out of 46 games. They'll be the first team to win every game.
Has anybody else got anything they want to add about the Championship or any other of the clubs? Or happy to move on?
Sheffield Wednesday are finishing higher than Sheffield United. That's my take.
That's a shout. Yeah,
I think that as well.
That's a shout. I just quickly, just because Deet was in the chat. Obviously, we met with the very well renowned friendly between Bradford and Sunderland's on next week, I think. But next Saturday, right, Sunderland have got announced a home friendly against Marseille, but can't use the Stadium of Light because our pitch isn't ready yet, because we've relayed the pitch and everything, well, the lights are starting the other. So the closest venue to Sunderland to have this friendly at home to Marseille is Valley Parade. So I've got 2 trips to Bradford in a week. Can't wait.
Oh, Kieran, you love a good trip to Bradford.
You know what, Anne? Bradford's my favourite place to go. I might join you.
You liar.
No, I don't know what you're on about.
Why you always lying?
I love Bradford, and all I have ever spoke on any podcast ever is positivity and love towards the area of Bradford.
I just really want to know where Bradford playing their pre-season games, considering we're there twice. Well, there we go. But no, I'm done.
Oh, funny. So we will move on to League One. Danny, I will let you have your say first.
What do you want me to do? Do you want me to do our signings? Or
yeah,
do you want me
talk
to
about your signings.
So we had no signings until the start of Northampton Town, by the way, for anyone listening who doesn't know who we are, just in case. We didn't have any signings until about the start of July. Then we got about 6 in within about 10 days. So and then now it's calmed down again. So we kind of got a bit excited for a week and a bit, and now it's calmed down. So we've got James Wilson in from Port Vale, quite experienced striker for that level. Injury prone a little bit, but if we can keep him fit, I think he's got quite a bit of quality. Cameron McGeehan, I'm quite excited about from Colchester. He has done really well in League Two, and whether he can make the step up, I'm really hoping he can, because he's got a fair bit of experience for his age, and he was probably Colchester's best player last season. Plays in the number 10 role, so I'm really excited to see him and what he can do. Something that we probably didn't have that much of last season in terms of a number 10 buzzing around the forward. So excited for that. We got Jack Baldwin in from Ross County, defender on a fee, which is nuts. We've actually paid something. It might only be 20 quid, but we've paid 20 Scottish pounds maybe, but we paid something for him from Ross County. I think he was the captain there, I believe. Nick Zanner from Wimbledon, I think he's going to be the backup keeper, so that was a free transfer, which all the others. Callum Morton is back from Salford. I think we briefly touched on him last time. Got pretty much single-handedly got us promoted in the COVID year at Wembley through the playoffs. So magical memories with him. So he's back on loan from Salford. And then probably the most excited one that I've been is Big Tom Eaves from Rotherham. I think he's 32 now, but he's one of these strikers he plays against you. He's this like gigantic player who can still move a little bit. But you just think he's one of these players you bring on for the last 10 minutes to get you a goal, I think, at this point. I just get excited by these target men for some reason. I don't know why. Like, a lot of people find, another lump, but I feel like Tom Eaves is going to be a really exciting signing. He's just one of these players.
Fantastic signing, Danny. We mentioned it, didn't we? I think it's a brilliant signing.
Yeah, really, I can just see myself really loving watching him play and watching him come on and watching him bully these kind of supposed bigger clubs in League One. I think is perfect for that, and is again something that we just didn't have last season in terms of another option. But we had Louis Appere running his balls off up front, and then we had a couple of players similar to him, but we didn't really have someone who was a little bit different for like a plan B. So I think Tom Eaves really fits the mold really well. So yeah, we're doing well. We're getting there. I think we've been linked to a guy called Matt Dibley Diaz, which is a fantastic name, on loan from Fulham. Apparently he's got a vicar for a mum. But he's
who then married a Chilean.
He's married a Chilean, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think his dad's Brazilian and his mum's from New Zealand, and he was born in New Zealand. And his granddad played for Brazil. I think he was the captain of the Fulham under-21. So that should be getting done over the next couple of days by the looks of it. So that's another one that could hopefully fill the void of someone else we're going to talk about in a few minutes, I assume, when we talk about Birmingham, which is very sad. But yeah, there we go.
Got a couple of questions as well for you.
Go on. Is it a Birmingham count? Yeah. Mark Leonard is. I know this isn't a very high standard to set it by, but he's the best player I've seen play for us in my lifetime. And again, big lifetime to draw that off. I have to say, to caveat that, he's fantastic. He's a brilliant player. He came to us a couple of years ago in League Two. Really shone on loan from Brighton, came back to us last year on loan for another year, player of the year, brilliant lad as well. He'll knuckle down. He'll be really, really popular in the dressing room as well. He's got a really good character about him. Just quality on the ball. You think about Brighton player. I talked about him last season on this pod probably, but you think about Brighton midfielder. He's exactly what you're going to get. Silky passing. He'll get about the pitch, but he works a lot harder than a lot of people will give him credit for as well, just because he's got that quality on the ball. He'll put in a few Thunder Bastards as well. I'm gutted that he went, but we knew we weren't going to get him back because, look at the money that they spent on him, 500, 600 grand. It just wasn't going to happen at all. And I thought he might go to the Championship, but there's no doubt he'll probably be there within a year anyway. So great move for him. And yeah, brilliant lad. I can't say enough good things about him. Superb player.
Also is this true? I love Sam Hoskins.
No, I've not heard anything.
Thank God.
He won't go. He's getting a testimonial soon.
He'll just be playing football for another team.
Yeah, it's not even my club. To stay.
He's going to get a testimonial. If only for what he did at Tranmere in the last of the season.
I had a proper panic.
No, I don't think so. I can't see it at this point. But yeah.
Oh man, that scared me. I love Sam Hoskins.
Again, he's not dying. He's just leaving.
Yeah,
No,
he's not leaving. He can't leave. He's not allowed. No one plays for a club that long anymore. He's been here for like a good 10 years or so now. That doesn't happen these days, does it?
I will say, Danny, you're going to have fun with Jack Baldwin. Like,
I've heard this. Yeah.
Honestly, he looks like Baresi at the other point. He looks as if he's never played football in his life. Honestly,
exactly what I've heard.
Middle ground with him.
Yeah. I'm hoping that League One it evens itself a little bit more in terms of the positive. But
we had him in League One, and like I said, he was unbelievable.
I absolutely love the idea, Danny, of you coming on and going, so he's not running, he's not moving. It does that. He invited the fan onto the pitch.
Yeah.
Deary me.
Who shall I come to next? I'll come to you, actually, Rebecca. Is there anyone you're intrigued about this season, or anyone you think have made some good signings so far in League One?
I mean, I'm quite excited with Lincoln. I kept an eye on them last season, and I'll continue with my support of Lincoln again if Ethan Hamilton is back fit season. I mean, one of like the biggies he's seen Lucas Jensen leave, and I think he's gone to Millwall now. So it's like for me, he's a great keeper, and he was like the go-to throughout the season. So I feel as though he could be a miss for them, but I mean, if Championship come calling for you, I don't think Jensen was ever going to turn that down. No. They have made quite a few signings, and it is quite exciting. And they are going for, I know one of them is Street, and he's one that stood out for me. He's a young 22-year-old that does seem a very, very good force within. He was at Cheltenham, and he did do quite well with them last season. So I feel as though he's going to be a great signing for Lincoln. And just with how many they've got, it does seem quite exciting. And they did finish 8th, I think it was, last season. And they did have quite a good run to nearly get playoffs. So I feel as though they've not lost many. And the ones that they have lost, I think some of them were quite expected. So it's one of them. It's quite an exciting time for Lincoln. And But I won't predict anything yet. I'll save that for in a few weeks.
No, I think they've got the ability to be a real dark horse in League One,
Yeah,
Lincoln, again next season. And it's difficult to say that with them finishing 8th and nearly getting the playoffs. Like, why would they be a dark horse? But because of the teams like Wigan and Reading who will probably come again, because the teams coming down, because of the strength coming up from League Two as well, like your Stockports and your Wrexham splashing the cash, it's going to be such a hard league, which will probably make Lincoln into that kind of dark horse category. But Michael Skubler worked absolute wonders there last season when he came in. I think he was only like reserve coach at Leeds, wasn't he? And he came in and did a superb job. I wish they'd have made the playoffs, because I think they could have like almost potentially won it if they'd have ended up in it, because the momentum they had at the end of the season was phenomenal. So yeah, really interested to see what they do next season.
I just wanted to confirm as well, we do not talk about Peterborough on this
No, we don't.
podcast.
Get out.
No.
Here we do. Get out. That should have been a rule anyway, not to talk about Peterborough. Get out.
Exactly, it's definitely one now.
Yeah, the open idea when Peterborough are ever going to be mentioned when we do the predictions, we're just going to skip a spot and just assume that's where they are.
Relegated. Out of my head.
Out of point.
Moving on.
They live, honestly, they live rent free in my head. I do not like them. Jen, anybody in League One you want to talk about? Whether you think we've made decent signings, whether you think we're going to struggle next season?
I feel like we have to talk about Reading because they are in big trouble at the minute.
Yep.
They currently have one loan player signed and he could leave at the end of October. So they're very much in the mud, let's put it that way. I know there's been an offer put through for them, but it's still with the EFL, and we know how bad the EFL are. So there's that's they could be taking over, but it's still, you're 2-3 weeks away from the season now, and it looks like they don't have a team that they can put out there, kind of thing. So I feel for Reading, obviously, because we are in the same position as them. Now we do have players, but we know the ownership is bad on both sides, from us and them. I just feel that the fans can't get excited about the season because they don't know if they're going to have a season to come to, which it's very sad to see another club struggling like this. And it just seems like it's never ending.
Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it? Like, if we went through it, obviously, last season, and it was kind of on the pitch then, they were kind of doing better, weren't they? And it kind of gave the fans something to cheer about, even though there was things going on behind the scenes. And it just seems like it's a bit more of a standstill at the minute, and there's nothing really positive happening for them. And it's just awful. I know we've mentioned it a few times, like last season, about several clubs, but this with Reading, it's just an ongoing saga, isn't it?
Yeah, it just feels like everything they try and do, it doesn't do anything. Like, he's still an owner of the club. I just don't understand why he just doesn't want to sell to the first person that comes along and move on.
He just wants to get some form of good return on investment for the club. That's all he cares about, and entirely unrelated to League One. But have you seen what has happened to Bordeaux?
They've been denounced aside, haven't they?
Yeah, they've been denounced as a professional club. Every single player's left. It looks like they're one of the most richly filled French clubs of all time. It looks like that. They won't exist going into next season.
That is awful.
Yeah, like that. That's the worry. The fact that you're reading this from other leagues as well. It does mean that it's not just the EFL, just the regulator of football. It almost feels like they don't care. And I almost feel, again, entirely unrelated. Liga now know that they've lost Mbappe, the cover boy of the league. Those teams down there, they'll struggle because nobody will be there to bloody watch that league. But that's an entirely unrelated thing, but and then the context of Bordeaux, that's the kind of thing that can happen to clubs, no matter how prestigious they are. Reading with Premier League, it doesn't even feel like too long ago, and they were solid mid-table, if not trying to push up. But you're now looking 10 years down the line. Look where they are. They're closer to not being a club than being back to where they were, which is It's really worrying.
So sad.
It is horrible.
Yeah, it's really sad because I feel like we're always having to talk about owners
All
because
the time about different clubs.
It's like it's
Yeah,
never ending.
like the whole point, that we come on here is to be. Is this ironic coming from my mouth? Being positive about football, but it's ironic coming from my mouth, maybe. But
Oh, not at all, Kieran.
I'm not going to be the positivity. What can I say? It's all an act, guys. Don't worry. I'm not this miserable in real life for the most part. But it's like we want to do all that nice stuff, and make all the funny jokes and whatnot. We've still got this kind of stuff going on, and it just takes away from the entire reason that we enjoy this sport. Not fun.
Not fun. I just wanted to talk about as well another club that has had the struggles in the past, but then obviously they took over. I think it was last season. Didn't do that well last season, got relegated, but they've signed a lot of players this season in League One. Birmingham. Does anyone want to talk about Birmingham? I will leave the floor open to everybody.
Go up.
The amount of money they're throwing about, $4 million for a player in League One. Are you taking the piss?
They're gonna
You won't
take
do
as well,
that in the Championship.
They've done it twice. They've signed 2 players for $4 million. They've signed a player from Go Ahead Eagles he was playing Champions League last year. He's dropped the League One.
Like, cereal bars.
I mean, they must be seriously they must be favourites to go up. There's the amount of, as well as not as if they are signing just randomers as well. I mean, Danny mentioned before, Mark Leonard, Alfie May from Charlton, who was he the top scorer last year? He was up there, wasn't he? He was definitely scoring goals. They've signed 2 goalkeepers from the Championship in Bailey Peacock Farrell, who plays in Northern Ireland, and Ryan Allsop, who's an all-round decent goalkeeper. I mean, they've got to be
1.5 million on keepers alone. It's ludicrous.
Yeah,
14 something million so far. They haven't even finished yet.
14 million in League One, and we're not even on August.
I guarantee you now that the vast majority of Championship sides, bar the teams who are coming down and bar the other 2 who still got the parachute payments, I will go on record to say that not even 10 teams in the Championship overall will spend 14 million, and they've spent 14 million in League One, and I'll be seriously surprised if more than 10 teams in the Championship spend 14 million. It's mad.
They have to win the league, don't they? Right, essentially.
Yeah, of course they have.
That's the thing. When you're signing these caliber of players, and there's so many eyes on you because of what you're doing and what you're spending. There is almost that pressure that you need to perform on it, and there's almost a team in every division that's like that. But I think that's the only thing that can concern them, is that will they be able to handle that expectation from match day 1 of winning the league? It's not even automatic promotional playoffs. It's winning the league, and comfortably. That's the genuine consensus.
There's a couple of Birmingham fans in the chat now having to put a $6 million bid in for Jay Stansfield. I mean, I don't think Jay Stansfield will go to the league. I'd be very surprised if he does. But £6 million bid. That's madness.
Didn't they get rejected? Apparently, it got rejected by that they're going in to put 7-8 million towards it. The fact you can spend that in League One is unreal. I swear that's probably about 2 times more than what they spent the entirety of last season.
I mean, what I will say as well, coming from kind of an experienced head in it, when we got relegated into League One, we kept quite a lot of our team from the Championship and made some good signings, and we didn't go up. It took us 4 years. And if you don't get up the first year, it becomes more and more difficult. So they probably do have to go up, because I think if they don't, they're gonna have to. They're going to be a lot of money down the drain, and obviously you lose a lot of television revenue this year with them not being on telly as much. But I mean, if they don't, I'll be amazed if they don't go up with that squad. But it has happened before where teams have come down and not immediately come back, because League One is completely different to the Championship, as in the style of football, everything like that is as well. So we'll see what happens, really. But yeah.
I thought
when,
I thought League One was nowhere near as competitive as what we've seen from other seasons, especially last time out. But like for Birmingham, this almost feels like the worst time for them to come down in terms of the stature of teams that are in the division with them. You could literally pick 19 teams. Like one of 19 teams, probably chuck them in any order, and there's that potential when you've got 19, 20 teams in that division that you can justify off of expectations to get into the playoffs or promotion spots. That's how you know it'll be, a really exciting league.
Yeah. Excited, torturous. I think that's why we're
in the division, then it's going to be shit. Yeah,
unless you're a team who maybe paid £20 for Jack Baldwin, potentially. I think that's what we're kind of up against though as well with teams like us. There is that massive group of teams that can do really well, and even like I said before, Wrexham, Stockport coming up, who will splash the cash as well. Like it all sounds really kind of gloomy to think. Like we finished 14th last season, but you still think anything other than the bottom four at the minute is a success just because of the stature of teams. And we've just got to ride this out, I think, this kind of league, and hope that some of the bigger teams just get out of the way next season, because it's just you can't compete with it. And when we lose out to players from League Two teams now as well, because some of the money that's been in that league. So it's just difficult to compete, and you've just got to be clever about it. And the one thing that will almost work, the one thing that works against them probably is the fact that every game they play is going to be a cup final for the other team.
Every team that they play. Totally.
I remember when Fulham first splashed the cash in League One, like back in the 90s, that like no one was spending money back then, and they came in and splashed all the money to get up the leagues, and fair play to them and done that job. But every time we played them, it was like a cup tie, even though we're in the same league as them. We were quite close to them in the league, but because they had that money, the mentality of the opposition fans just goes up straight away. And that's what they'll face. And whether whether they'll win the league or not is whether they can cope with that straight away, because that'll be from the start of the season, and whether they can implement all these new signings as one. But they've had some tough times.
They're just going to lift it.
Exactly. And
even going to like St Andrews as well, which is still quite a nice ground. There's not many grounds are going to be as big as in attendance as St Andrews. So it's the big deal, isn't it?
It was the same thing for a lot of teams with Wrexham in League Two last season. Everyone would play even if, for example, you were 19th and you had nothing to play for, you'd still take that game as if it was a cup final. So the fact that that's going to happen from match day 1 all the way up to match day 46 is something that, like you've rightly said, could potentially overwhelm them. But I suppose football players, in the way that football works now and whatnot, they should potentially be expected to be able to deal with that level of pressure, with the amount of coverage and whatnot that they will get.
I know Claire's not here as well, Sharp, but I think Stockport have done really well in the signings that they've made. Just looking at theirs now, I thought I'd have a quick look. And I know that we'd mentioned a few times, obviously, signed that Jay Mingy from Colchester, everyone was raving about last year, and Michael Mellon, who scored goals. I can't remember where he was last year, but he scored goals. Was it Morecambe? Oh, sorry, Jen.
The second you mentioned that name, I saw Jen's face drop.
And they've signed Jack Diamond from Sunderland, and I know Jack Diamond really well, to be fair, and him on his day can be one of the best players in that league. And he obviously had a bad year last year because he was up in court. He was charged with rape and everything like that. It turned out there wasn't. It turned out that the woman had made it up. So which was horrible for him in his career. He's lost a year of his career. So, but when he was at Lincoln were raving about him when he went on loan, and I really do hope, just for his sake, he just gets his career back on track, because that's got to be a horrible thing you go through, to be charged and everything like that, go into court and find out that the woman's made it up. I think that's quite horrible. But that's for another time. And they've also, going back to Stockport to sign Callum Connolly from Blackburn. That's a good signing. Fiorini from Man City.
Claire mentioned as well there's a possibility of Louis Barry coming back.
Louis Barry,
if we get him, she thought it'd be like early August or something looking at. So if we get him as well, that'd be absolutely massive for him.
Yeah.
I like the keeper as well, Corey Adai from
he's
Crawley.
a great keeper.
Mm-hmm. Great character as well.
This was the thing that Claire mentioned, and I entirely agreed with it. And I really liked the way that Stockport went about it. Of course, they've had Ben Hinchcliffe for a good while, and football's quite cruel when you get towards that kind of later age within the career and whatnot. And they've signed Corey Adai with the intention of replacing Hinchcliffe for the next, potential decade. So the fact that they've already got that number one role for, the future, potentially even locked down. And it's not even that he can't play now. He was probably the best keeper in the division behind Ben Hinchcliffe. So just to have both of those quality keepers, it adds a lot of competition as well. And I think that's probably the perfect way to go about it with goalkeepers, because you'll never really see too much rotation with them. There always tends to be a number one and then a number two, but I almost feel those two keepers for different reasons are on par. So you'll almost potentially see a lot of rotation between goalkeepers, which is unusual for a club, but it's not a bad problem to have at all.
I mean, bad news as well on the Stockport front, because we had a good laugh about this. Eric Bristow's loan never got extended, so unfortunately, for all darts fans out there, no Eric Bristow in League One next season.
180-day loan ended.
No, dearie me. There's one team in this division that's really impressed me. And it's based off of what happened to them last season and what they've done going into the preparation of this season, and that's Burton. Some of the signings they've made, don't get me wrong, they're potentially not league winners, but they're a lot more stable than the kind of players they were going with. Like Elliot Watt was bound to get a jump up from League Two if Salford didn't get promoted. Like the same with that of Ben Whitfield. I'm really impressed with like Alex Bannon, Jack Anna. Those kind of signings will really help them push up the league. And because of how competitive it is, potentially it's not enough for them to justify potentially going into promotion. I didn't even mention, of course, they've signed like Danilo Orsi from Crawley, who was just incredible last season, or Julian Larson. But some of those players will, in time, potentially help them to push up towards playoffs and everything. So it looks like under that new ownership they are going in the right direction. I think the only worry about it is that the amount of business they've made is insane. I don't know how many transfers they've made, but there's bloody loads of them. So it all depends whether they gel quick enough. But it looks really exciting for them.
I like what Rotherham are doing as well. Like, I know they came down, had a difficult season last season, but again, signing players for the division, like Joe Powell from Burton, we just mentioned him, really cracking signing. He put in some great work from Burton. Liam Kelly from Coventry, great experience. They signed Sean McWilliams from us over the summer as well. Johnson Clark Harris has scored goals at this level his entire life. Cammy Dawson from Sheffield Wednesday, Reece James from Sheffield Wednesday, not that one, the other one. Just Sean Raggett as well. Sean Raggett, great experience for this level as well. Raggett, Rafferty as well, Zach Jules. They've made some quality signings, and they'll be right up there as well, I think, because they tend to yo-yo a lot, don't they? But it feels like this time they're starting to make a little bit more of a plan for just get out of this league and try and stay there as well. They're making signings for the future as well.
How are we feeling about Bolton as well? Sam mentioned before, I think they're the second favourites at the minute to obviously win it, but I had to say Bolton as well for everyone in the chat. We've been saying it. Do we reckon they'll have another good season with business they've done so far? They've obviously added to their squad. Do you think they're going to be one of them teams who will be up there again. They tend to be, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, also.
They've signed Scott Arfield, haven't they? The former Burnley lads. That's quite a sign.
He was at Rangers for a good while, wasn't he?
Yeah, good League
He
One.
was part of that Europa. Was it the Europa League final team where they lost to Frankfurt in the end? Pretty sure he was part of that team.
I mean, they've kept hold of the likes of Aaron Collins and that who scored a lot of goals from last year, and obviously is it Sanchez, the centre half, who's about 9 foot, huge. And if you look at that, if that was a good enough squad last year, probably is this year as well. I just wanted to very quickly mention as well, Blackpool as well. I think they've done well with. They signed a couple of good strikers, for that level. Obviously they had Rhodes last year, didn't on loan, and he signed on a permanent deal, and Ashley Fletcher from Watford. Who doesn't get enough goals as what he probably should do, but he's an all right League One player. I think that's not a bad little signing, but I think they'll be okay. But
I was really impressed with Bolton in the way that they've kept like a lot of the players that they had last season. Obviously, like you mentioned, Collins. They've still got Josh Sheehan. These kind of players are top end League One players. Potentially that they did blow the chance last season, but I don't know. Their signings are impressive, and on paper that squad does look potentially a bit better. But then again, we've mentioned it so much that this division is so competitive, and there's so many teams that you could name to go up. So
I'm looking forward to League One next season. I think League One next season is going to be huge.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed.
I don't think I am anymore.
I really enjoyed League Two last season for exactly the same reason. There were loads of teams that were kind of popping out of nowhere and doing really well. Crawley Crew, for example. There's a lot of teams that are very similar to that. And there's one signing for a particular club I want to mention. It's Charlton. They signed Luke Berry from Luton, which I think is a really, really impressive signing. Albeit he wasn't an out-and-out starter for Luton in the season they were in the Premier League. He was involved enough to where you'd say he did a job for that club in their attempts to stay up. So the fact he's willing to drop 2 leagues down to kind of play his football is really impressive.
It's the old Nathan Jones effect, isn't it, coming in for that? What you get with Charlton as well, with another thing making League One stronger, the likes of Charlton, the likes of Wigan, that started off so poorly last season. I know Wigan had that deduction, so they had to play catch up, but they're starting on a level playing field now, and they're going to be right up there as well. And some good signings kept some of the squad together, apart from the obvious Alfie May one for Charlton. But if they can replace him well, Ghassan Ahadmi from Ipswich should do well at this level. I think they're going to be right up there as well. So it's just everyone's going to be right up there, I think, by the looks of it.
So basically, I think we should. For League One, I think we should do it off the basis that there's 18 promotion slots.
Get rid of them all, please, and then we'll start again. I do
18 promotion slots. That's the point.
I want to mention the other end as well, because, and I don't want to upset Matt Farley, because no one wants to. I don't think it's possible to upset Matt Farley. But I do worry a little bit for Stevenage.
I do. I'm glad you said it, Danny, because I wanted to say it, but I didn't. So glad you did. Now you're the baddie.
They just had a phenomenal season last season, and you get that sometimes where you push so hard for the playoffs, and they almost cause the most ridiculous of upsets to get in the playoffs. Can they go and do it again without Steve Evans, without that mentality with Steve Evans behind him? I'm not so sure. Alex Ravel's a great lad. I really like him. But I just don't know, and I'm not sure that they can stay the pace, and it might drop off quite a lot for them, as it will for quite a few.
I think the thing that I'm relatively confident about with Stevenage is that they've kept a lot of the players that were there last season and were there within that promotion season, like that their captain Carl Piergianni's still there. They've still got Reed there and whatnot. So I think they've got enough to stay up and whatnot, but I wouldn't expect them to be anywhere near the heights that they were last season. But almost similar to what I said about Charlton, Cambridge have signed Corey Smith from Derby.
Sorry, that
I
made me
think
laugh
that's an
a
alright
bit.
signing. I think that this is the thing. Every team that you probably potentially associate with being in a relegation battle have made really good signings, and they're maybe not good signings for long term. Like Corey Smith's 33, but he's been there and done that in League One and higher. And you've even got Gary Gardner, Ryan Loft. There's a lot of players that Cambridge have signed that probably have that experience and are too good individually to have that team potentially going down. So
Yeah, I hope Birmingham don't go up now because
I'm
with Gary Gardner.
Yeah, basically, I'm saying that no team's going down either, and every single team going up.
We've just got a couple of questions in the chat. Just bear with me, everyone in the chat. I know you do want your questions answering. I will read them out. I have them highlighted. Don't think.
Can I just quickly tell
you.
Tranmere Rovers show that I don't actually support Shrewsbury?
What do you think, Milan? What do you think?
Go on, man. What do you think about it?
John Marquis.
That's a mint sign, and that John Danny mentioned before about Tom Eaves. John Marquis is that typical League One target man striker. Like, to be fair. But yeah, can I just literally put on record I support Sunderland? I'm not a Shrewsbury fan. I only predict them to have a good season.
I love it.
I don't know. You should know the answer.
I'm not going to. Again, I've told you this last season. Declan Drysdale, no. But here we are. I can tell. There's one team, and I hate to say it because I predicted them to go down last season, and didn't they prove everyone wrong? But I'm not convinced again by Crawley. Really, really not convinced. This is dangerous territory because the last time I did this, they got promoted, but they've lost most of that squad that they lost, that they had to get promoted with, and a lot of those players that you thought, they weren't good enough for League Two, yet they absolutely pissed it. And now they've all moved on, but some of them to League Two rivals. You've got Orsies went to Burton, for example, and I question whether they can keep that same policy of signing unknown players. Didn't you finish below us last season? But anyway,
go on, Kieran. Go on, lad.
I'm just saying that I was going to say this earlier. He said the comment when I was mentioning about what's his bloody name? Burnley manager Scott Parker always being miserable, and he said, it's like a Welsh person on this podcast. Yet you still tune in every week, man. It's all right. Throwing shots I am today, guys. No prisoners. Well, we're not having it today. I'm not messing about.
The viewers we can get. We don't need to lose any.
No. All right, and for final statement, this is my last show out of entire choice of the Absolute Football podcast, and it's totally not because I'm going to be booted for having beef with one of our viewers. I'm just expecting, this is a mutual decision, and it's totally not my fault at all. Shrewsbury lost Shea Dunkley. That's not good.
I've got no idea.
There you are. Listen, all right, you got to admit, right, as much as I take a lot of shit on here, I know how to give shit back. I know how to. It's all right.
Good. We've just obviously mentioned Crawley, but what do we think about Wrexham and Mansfield so far in this transfer window?
Did anyone see Wrexham's pre-season friendly yesterday with Chelsea? They drew 2-2, and after 20 seconds, James McLean picked off.
Yeah.
It is the most James McLean thing. The roast bit, is that a dinner? Is that a roast beef dinner? I'm not. Won't be saying that in National League. We'll see, my friend. We'll see. I'd like, I'm not a gambling man, but feel free to chuck money on Newport to go down and waste it. But here we are.
Well, anyway, answer the question. I think Wrexham will be okay. I know I'm not predicting, but I think Wrexham will be all right. But I do fear for Mansfield. I fear for Mansfield and Crawley. All them too.
Yeah.
I fear for them the most. I don't think I fear for Mansfield because I said this for the entirety of last season. I think Davis Keeler-Dunn was the best player in the entirety of League Two last season, and I think he'd probably fit into most League One sides, and he wouldn't look out of place. And they've still got many players, and I think they're the one thing that really helped them in going up last season was their strength in kind of in numbers and their depth. It was a lot better than what we've seen with former Mansfield teams that have tried and just missed out on promotion. But another player I want to mention, he's 35, albeit, but Lee Gregory. He's done really well for Mansfield, and he's obviously joined now from Sheffield Wednesday, and he's got an abundance of experience. And for that squad that has kind of young players, and there you are. You're welcome, guys. You're all welcome. See, we always have a silver lining, and you're taking Declan Drysdale off of us. Thank you. We'll have that mutual agreement there. And
we need to have a charity boxing fight between Keelan and Barry.
I think we get that arranged. Yeah. Well, at this point, right? I feel like I should be having a charity boxing match with probably about everyone on the internet, because like I'm opening my social media comments and I don't know what it is, but I'm getting fucking peppered left, right, and center. So like, I think I might have to, you got like KSI and whatnot to do that Misfits thing. I think I'm gonna have to start my own version of it and do charity boxing matches, probably outside of a car park of McDonald's or something. But we'll see how many seats we can sell.
I also need to, as much as I don't want to, I feel like I do need to talk about Peterborough, to be fair. Because I feel like they have...
moving on.
I feel like they have made some decent signings, apart from one who I'm not going to talk about because I don't think it was a very good signing.
I think we should talk about it, though, rather fluently. Cian Hayes, basically. So he was really good. He was a hidden gem playing in the National League last season for this club called Rochdale. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but basically...
Who they also signed George Nevitt from, may I add?
Yeah, they also... See, I think it almost feels like Rochdale are now the feeder club to the Peterborough United youth transfer policy. I think that's their plan.
I'm head of recruitment, aren't I?
Yeah, head of recruitment. Yeah, shout out.
Because who else did I talk about on this podcast last season who they signed, and he actually got a hat trick in his first pre-season friendly?
Con Clark.
I am Peterborough's head of recruitment. I am.
Yeah.
I come on here week in, week out talking about these players, and Darren Ferguson signs them up.
So I'm just saying, right? Out of respect for Danny, you should have been naming a load of shit players. So they signed them thinking they were already good, and then they crap. Start doing that.
I noticed. I'm just looking at their list of players. They've got James Donnelly right back, and it says they've signed him from Peterborough under 21s, which seems a little bit bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing on transfer market, but they're like registering academy players who have been offered Shah's going to have a charity boxing match with the entirety of the Peterborough squad.
Everyone
everyone associated with Peterborough.
Yeah, I'll join you.
Not George Nevitt, though. I love George Nevitt, bless him.
Not George Nevitt, and probably not Cian Hayes either.
No.
Off of conversations that have been had on this podcast and prior.
If you're watching, Cian, I'm offering you out here.
There's a call out.
Not in a good way. Honestly, like
Barry Fry's going to miss
You saw Tyson Fury and Mike Tyson and thought they were good. They were good boxers. You've not seen anything until you see Shah fighting outside of a car park.
Exactly.
Yeah, with a charity event that sold about 2 tickets to random people on the street.
Oh, come on, Simon. Look, I'm hoping we've got... Get George Nevitt then, because I'm sure we've got a sell-on clause for him, so we need some dollar.
Spend a lot of money on him. Like, overpay significantly.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
The odd 100 million offer won't be too bad. It's all right.
I just want to disclose as well, I am not a fighter. I'm a lover, not a fighter. So everything you hear is not
until
true.
it comes to the Peterborough staff, and then she's a fighter.
No, I just...
Listen, right, when it's in the car park, it's on site.
Can I just quickly mention one player? Leighton Orient have signed Lewis Warrington from Everton, and all I can say is, what a player he is. I am absolutely gutted to see him leave Everton, but I feel as though him at Leighton Orient, this is going to be like the start of something special with him. He's an incredible player. He's come through our academy, and honestly, any Leighton Orient fans, you've got a great signing there.
Wasn't he on loan at Plymouth last season? But he played like 2 games, and like I remember reading this thing on social media. Like he was retweeting Plymouth fans' tweets when they were like saying, "Oh, he's allowed to speak on social media. He's clearly not happy at the club he's at." So there was a little bit of drama involving him in Plymouth. But
he came back.
He's a class player, to be fair to him.
Is there any other Everton, like under 20 players we should look out for, like the next Nathan Broadhead, Rebecca, or Ellis
For
Sims?
Peterborough to sign.
We have.
Are there any under 13s in Rochdale that Peterborough will sign in the next 5 years?
No. We have released quite a few Everton under 21 players. Mackenzie Hunt, Cal John are 2 standouts, and Katia Kiarte, incredible players in our academy. So when we did our departure list, I was shocked to see him go. But I can't remember which teams they have signed for, but I know that they are going for League One and League Two, so they are going to be quite good ones to keep a look out for.
I think Mackenzie Hunt was Barrow, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he was.
God knows who else, but can we also? I'd like it if Everton could develop the next Nathan Broadhead, especially if he decides to represent Wales, because we clearly don't have enough wingers. That's the thing we definitely need more of, and not defenders or goalkeepers. If you can develop one of those, that'd be quite nice. Thank you.
We can have a Sunderland winger. We've got about 9 now. We've got loads now.
You're starting to turn into what Leeds were. You're starting to turn into the Wales B team.
Speaking of Everton, I've just noted Andy Lonergan, the 40-year-old, signed for Wigan from Everton.
Yeah, goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He used to play for us. We had him on loan.
I think he's played for everybody.
Ouch. And I disagree with this comment.
Bearing in mind that I'm the only one players going to see on Saturday, and I'm having a shave tomorrow just for the occasion. They'll get to see Claire.
Have you been preparing the dance moves for the plexiglass in the way?
We're going to go and invade a pitch, just any random Saturday league pitch on
Saturday league pitch will be playing pre-season.
We're at home on Saturday. Couldn't invade ours. We're hosting Argyle.
Get over to Tranmere. I love a good pitch invasion. Get over there.
Yeah.
Love a good pitch invasion over there.
There we are.
Are we all happy with the League One chat? Should we move on now to League Two?
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to go and grab a drink of water, so I will leave it up to Rebecca, Jen and Kieran. You decide who wants to talk first about their club, because I need to drink water.
Guys, we're in the absolute slums of the Football League now. Here we go.
I'll leave you to it for a second.
Shall we do it in alphabetical order? Just so Kieran goes last, basically.
I feel like, you know what? I agree with that. Can we do that, please? Thank you.
I was going to say put him first, and we're not here till next Thursday.
Yeah. Go first, get it up and done with.
Get on, Kieran. Sorry, there you go. Go for it.
What's
this is going to take forever.
Yeah, so basically, she's going to come back from her drink, and I'm still going to be talking. I'm not even gonna scratch the surface.
I'm going to take the dump for a walk and you'll still be bloody talking.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, if you guys all back up from this now and leave, I'll still be here next week. So
Can we just, when Shah comes back, should we just all turn our cameras off quickly and just leave Kieran talking?
I feel the funny thing actually, we all turn our cameras off and mics off, just out of the sheer confusion.
That's actually a really, really good idea.
Yeah.
Go on, and then
like
you Paul. Come on.
Well, the thing is, I'm not actually going to talk too much in depth because I've talked enough in depth on many a times, and I'll be repeating myself for the 18th time. But yeah, the players we've signed, other than Courtney Baker-Richardson, who I'm delighted we've signed back, every single one of them are under the age of 24, or they're 24 or younger. Which is, as I've mentioned before, it's a really exciting recruitment policy if you get it right and these players fit into the right system and adjust senior football. One of the players we've been really there's two players actually that were formerly Sunderland that we've been really impressed with so far pre-season was Jacob Kearney, the goalkeeper. It looks like we're going to have some form of actual competition for Nick Townsend, which is exciting because we didn't really have that with Johnny Maxted, who I believe now plays in the 6th tier. So that kind of shows you. Poor old Johnny. Yeah, we love Johnny Maxted. We didn't get committed to the plan, guys. But the other one we've been really kind of impressed with is Michael Spellman.
Yeah, he is a good player.
It looks like we're adjusting to playing wingers. The manager we've signed, albeit he's managed probably about 4 games of senior football in his entire life. Claire, you're not here. You can't boss me around. But
she's got the link. Remember, she can jump on and boss you around.
Yeah, she can jump on if she wants. Just saying. But Claire, I've just missed you. We haven't chatted for a week, and you haven't, I don't know, said that I'm a dickhead today, which is usually what I expect. It gets me through to the next week. But yeah, the manager we have seems to prefer a 4-3-3 again, albeit he's managed about 4 games of football in his life. But yeah, actually having wingers means Michael Spellman can thrive because that is his natural position. Looks like Nathan Wood, who I always credit really highly, just out of really liking him, and it didn't work out for him last season. It looks like he's going to fit into the team. He played 65 minutes against Bristol City. But yeah, all the signings we've made, they're inexperienced for the EFL, but I think that they have enough going about them to where I think they can all adapt to the EFL really well. And pre-seasons looked really, really nice in comparison to how it's looked in other years. We played Bristol City last season. We played them in a behind closed doors friendly, lost to them 8-0. This season, we only lost them 2-0. So off of maths, we're going to beat them 4-0 next season. And yeah, I'm just, albeit I think the one thing I'm looking for if we are to sign more players, which sounds like we're going to, is some more experience. Because I don't think you can have an entire squad of players who have barely played senior football and expect them to adapt if things go wrong. But overall, it's been a different approach for a transfer window. Like, we've actually paid a fee for a player. Again, it might be very similar to Danny in Northampton, 20 quid. But, it's a fee. And we haven't paid one of those since 2018. So everything's looking good, despite the fact that everyone's saying we're going down. Yes! I'm still chatting on to myself. Stockport in the Championship. Newport have finished 18th again. We're in League 2 again.
We'll have to do our own podcast version of Busted Year 3000. All of this.
I think what we should do, and this is an entirely unbiased opinion, so this show should stay, but I think you should have absolutely Kieran chatting shit to where I can come live whenever I want and just chat shit for about 4 hours at a time. If we can do that, that would be fantastic.
Funny. I could just imagine. I'm actually going to think of a version of Year 3000, but around you, Kieran.
Yep.
Not much has changed, and he's still talking Newport.
He's still talking Newport and shit in brackets.
He starts a fight right outside McDonald's.
Everyone
A Mitchell face.
Guys, I'm really glad you're thinking about me outside of this podcast, and you're really, stretching the boundaries of what I can produce here, and really creative ideas that I think can be really entertaining.
I could see you still outside your nan's house.
Yeah.
Again, listen, I said this last week. You'll see me exactly here. I haven't moved from this spot. No nans have reported me.
Why was you late before?
Yeah.
Why I was late? You fucking caught me. Shit. Oh, no. Listen, all right, I need content. There we are. Thank you, Alex. I'm glad somebody will listen to me chat shit for 4 hours at a time. There we are. Guys, I gotta be. You guys do all the entertaining football stuff. Somebody's got to be the total dickhead that everyone can take a dig at. That's me.
I'm just singing my song still.
Yeah. Listen, right, you can have all your intelligent football chat. I'll just be the dickhead that everyone has a dig at. That's what I have been. That's what I had. That was the role I signed with Josh at Absolutely Football Podcast Studios. And that is the role that I am committing to and doing really well at.
Not much has changed, and he's still talking Newport.
What a banger that song is, by the way.
Absolute belter, I will be fair. Outside of this parody of it is a belter.
Kieran's great granddaughter. See, still is chatting online. Still chatting online.
Listen, I would have started an entire family, but I would have still been sat here on this chair. I haven't moved since.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Just from that chair.
Yeah, entire family. Listen, I mortgage, everything paid off, sat at this chair. That's the plan. This chair's part of me. I'm actually glued to it. I haven't moved from it since last week. So much so that I've lost one of the fucking wheels on it. Look, it's come off.
The wheels are falling off already.
The wheels are falling off.
Started yet.
Guys, the wheels are falling off Kieran HQ. I'm fucking booming. I'll take. I wish it was 4 hours. Imagine the amount of fucking watch time you get. Fucking hell, views would be up through the fucking. Views would be up through the fucking roof.
It's been 84 years.
It's been 84 years, and this absolute bellend is still talking about Cameron Antwi.
I love how Ant's missed all of this.
Yeah, and I'm still fucking talking, and he's gone to walk his dog or something.
Let him.
I won't mute myself for the rest of the podcast now, but sit here and talk to myself. The wheels are never on fucking.
And he's still talking Newport.
I'm just saying. All I'm saying, right, is that there's not been much fucking. There's never been fucking buses on wheels on buses in Newport anyway. It's Newport we're talking about. Newport, the entire season is done, and I'm still talking about Cameron Antwi and how we did really well against Andy. That's the plan.
Who wants to do the accent?
I wish we need Ant to do it, don't we?
Yeah.
Oh, we have to do it. Keep that comment like stars.
Oh, yeah.
There's a comment there for you to say.
Good grief. 4 hours later in the Big Brother house, and Kieran is still talking. There you go.
We were just
That was
saying,
better than I could have ever envisioned it. I love that.
We've done our own version of Busted Year 3000, but it's about Kieran. Not much has changed, and he's still talking Newport.
Is he still talking? I've been like, how can he
I stopped talking 5 minutes ago, but you fuckers have talked more than I talked. You're all talking about me. You're all upset.
His dog. He's gone to the toilet. He's had a snack, and you're still talking.
He's gone.
Newport.
I've literally had the dogs out and put
I've been
tea in.
talking about my wheel that's fallen off my fucking chair. I've lost the wheel on my chair. I feel in. Fucking tempting. I'm not happy now. You've set me off. I'm going to be talking about fucking Bradford in a minute now. Fucking hell.
Right, Rebecca, Jen, who wants to talk next?
Oh my god. I don't mind.
We need it to change because we don't want him to talk Newport. Love you, Kieran.
I can talk Accrington if you want.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've let go quite a few of our key players in the likes of leading goal scorer last season, Jack Nolan, has gone to Gillingham. Tommy Lee and Joe Pritchard have both gone to MK Dons.
Fringe.
It's like his head's just gone down.
It's like another wheel's gone, such as just flattened.
The wheels have completely
Just
fallen
laugh,
off his
doesn't
chair.
He's actually got another podcast down there. There's another screen. He's just in another podcast underneath.
We've also lost Ros Longello to Swindon and Toby Savin to Shrewsbury. So it seems as though we've done a lot in terms of getting rid of like our key players, whether that is money-wise, whether that's just contracts being up. But it's quite a hard one, and it was odd going back to Accrington for a pre-season the other week because you expect to see the faces of Tommy Lee and Jack Nolan there, and they're not. I didn't expect us to sell all three of them. I expected us to at least keep one.
Yeah.
Because it's like there are three integral players. Joe Pritchard has had his issues with injuries. Yeah. So we think that could be one of the reasons why he's gone, because MK Dons have a better backroom staff, like a bit more money to put into his like recovery and things like that. But that's just rumours from fans. We have had quite a few come in, one of which is we have a loanee from Southampton who's a centre-back called Zach. We do well with our centre-backs when they've come on loan. We had Brad Hills last season, then Ryan Astley the season before. And we do seem to be able to do well with the young upcoming centre-backs. We do seem to enjoy getting players from Boston United and Morecambe at the moment. We've got two from each. One that looks
Jen's face.
I do apologise.
I couldn't give less of a fuck about one of them.
Can you keep buying players off Boston because we've got them first game of the season?
Yeah,
that's their front line, Boston as well. Like Knowles and Mooney. They're the two players that scored quite a lot of goals from them, haven't they?
Like, yeah. Jimmy Knowles seems like a really promising striker for us. We have missed having that. I mean. I hope not. Yeah, Jimmy Knowles does seem to be a good one. We have been missing a striker. We had Josh Andrews for half a season, and then from then we didn't have a striker. We had Josh Woods playing as a striker, but he's more of a winger, and now that we're able to get the balls into the middle, we are seeing, I know it's only pre-season, we're yet to win a pre-season, but we are seeing a bit of a change.
It doesn't matter, pre-season doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's what we keep saying. So we've signed Jimmy Knowles, Farrand Rawson, Donald Love, Michael Kelly, Tyler
Signed
Walton.
Donald Love.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Aki. I love Donald Love.
I fucking hate him.
Ironic.
Go on, Don Love.
Tyler Walton, Kelsey Mooney, and Zach R, I think he's called. AWE. I'll learn how to pronounce that one.
Yeah, they have to. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We are keeping Seb Quirk, so you have got to put up with another season of me waffling on about him, and I've renewed my sponsorship.
Woo!
So we've got another people sponsoring him.
And a quirky.
Donald Duck.
No, he's called Donald Love, not Donald Duck. I mean,
That's
the
well,
name's
Donald
just
Duck.
as funny, but yeah, why'd you hear Donald Love so much? Was he at Morecambe?
Unfortunately.
Was he? He's not very good, but is he playing centre half now? He's a right back, and we had him.
He's
Yes,
probably
I
right.
think.
Don't
Don't know. Played wherever he wanted. He wasn't very good.
Nah, he's not great, but he's got a great name.
Did he start at
Donald
United?
Love.
Was he at Man United to start with?
Yeah, we signed him and Paddy McNair. We signed them both on a combined fee of about half a penny or something when we were in the Championship. McNair was all right, but Love was absolutely garbage. Like. Then he went to Shrewsbury. Something. What the hell's he doing? But,
What's happened to Kieran? This?
It's gone
It's
wrong,
Jeff-
this
it's Jeff
podcast all of a sudden, hasn't it? Right, anyway, we were talking about Accrington and Stanley. Yeah. Go on, Becky, keep going.
I want to know what that is. I hope it's a puppet. It's getting going on starting that family early, and he said he's going to start a family and do everything from that chair. So maybe that's what it's doing.
It's Jeff Banana.
Banana.
Yeah, I don't really know what else to say now. But
I don't blame you. They're gobsmacked.
yeah, it'll be an interesting one with who we've lost and who we've signed. In terms, like they've got big boots to fill now.
Can't stop it. Probably throw under 18s if you wanted to. Just saying. Oh my god.
I don't know what to say. Anything else you want to add, Rebecca, or have you finished with the Accrington chat? Or can you just not concentrate?
I just can't concentrate, I'll be honest. No, I think I've got everything in. We have got quite a few coming in. We are covering quite a few of the positions that we need to with the ones we've lost. We do have Seb playing as left back this season, it seems. So we're just putting anyone anywhere at this point. I think we had a striker as a right back last season, and now we've got a midfielder as a left back. So we'll go with it. But yeah, apparently we could still have a few more coming in. So it'll be quite an exciting time, but it does just seem so much different now without the likes of Lee, Northern and Joe Pritchard. But I mean, MK Dons, you've got some great signings there. Same with Gillingham.
But you've got Donald Love.
We've got Donald Love and we've got Seb Quirk.
Woo!
All you need is love.
Exactly.
Love is all you need.
Jen, do you want to talk Morecambe? Can you talk Morecambe with that banana in your face?
I'm just ignoring that. No.
Best way.
You know, do you remember when the Stoke fans were on Sky Sports News on deadline day? This is what this reminds me of.
Imagine Kieran on deadline day with his banana.
His banana just-
Rocking up on his chair, wheeling with his banana in his hand.
He wouldn't wheel though because he's not got one
He
wheel.
just go.
He'd be there having to pick the chair up while still sat on it and like doing the awkward
Oh
shuffle.
man.
Breaking news on deadline day. I'm sat on the floor with banana.
Oh, really?
Oh, great.
Oh man.
Sweating. No, he's gone.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Excellent, Jen.
So there's nothing much more on the ownership issue. All we have is that it's been sent to the EFL, and we're still waiting for news on that part. Other than that, we've signed quite a few players. Obviously, the 15 that we signed all at once. But we have a new striker that came in today from Sutton, and he was there last pre-season game as a trialist. I wasn't there, but a lot of people said he was very good. Exactly what we need. So we'll see how that goes tomorrow when we've got our first pre-season game at home, which will be nice to go back to the stadium and see everyone and see the players pretty much in the home ground, because we've been away. This is our first pre-season game, is at home, and it's our only one at home. So it'll be nice to go back tomorrow and see how they are on the pitch at home. And that's pretty much it. Nothing else has been really happening at Morecambe at the minute. It's more about waiting to see what the ownership issue is and if we are going to be bought. But I think we've done very well considering all the issues off the field. We also have 2 of our under-18s been offered their pro contracts. So that's huge for us, because most of the time our under-18s who come up do get sold on, just because it's money that we need. Like Adam Mayer left last season and went to Millwall, which was a huge sum of money for us. So I'm thinking if these 2 players do very well, then we'll probably end up selling them as well.
Is the H Hope you signed Harlan Hope?
Hallam Hope, yeah.
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 He must be a good age now.
He's been around forever, hasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just looking through the signings. To be fair, Lee Angle's a great sign as well. He was Bradford lad, wasn't he? And he was really good for Bradford. Fingers crossed. I mean, are you just happy, like, Jen, if it's not relegation this year? Or
Yeah, a lot of us have said, like, our issue is to stay in the league. That's it, basically, because if we get relegated, I think we will be stuck there for a very, very long time. So I think surviving in the league is the main thing for us now. Our goalkeepers, I don't know how Derek is going to pick a number 1, genuinely, because Stewie was with us last season, obviously got a very bad injury. So he was out for the rest of the season. We got Archie Mayer on loan, which, again, incredible goalkeeper. I hope he does well wherever he goes now. And then we've also got Harry. And Harry, who's been in goal for the first 2 halves of the pre-season, has been unbelievable. So I don't know how Derek is going to pick a number 1, or if there is going to be a number 1, or they're just going to be competing against each other every game.
It's good to have 2 keepers, though. I like the fact of having 2 keepers, because that's one thing with us that annoys me, because you don't really have that competition. And I feel like with 2 keepers as well, you have that healthy competition and stuff. And obviously, there's the cup and things like that. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. We have got a question for you as well, Jen, if I can find it. I don't know if you'll know personally. How did you get Paul Lewis to score? How did you get Paul Lewis to score?
Maybe just put it in the back of the net. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, just tell him there's a big thing there. Just put it in the middle of them.
You'll all be there running with like the arrows pointing to the ball. Like,
It's a good little player, Paul Lewis. We had him for a bit. He scored a hat-trick once in one game, and then that was pretty much all the goals he scored. But he's a good little player.
Yeah, he is good. From what I've seen so far, I do really like him.
You do have to cope with the crushing loss of Donald Love. So let me finish.
Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait to after that. So excited.
You'll have to come and visit him.
I think he might get booed after what he said. So I don't think it's going to go very well.
And people who go to the first pre-season friendly and don't know he's there will just be like, "Where is the love?" that first friendly as well is going to be nuts. Like 15 new players or whatever it was. Like who's
it was wild. But I went to the first pre-season game because it was away. Lovely little non-league ground, Workington. Absolutely wonderful non-league ground. So I think to see all them players, it was like, whoa, like who's who? Because you were looking at the team sheet because you literally didn't know who was who. But they all fitted in and gelled really well straight away. So I think that's a very good thing that we have going at the minute.
Yeah.
Our team sheet's no help at the moment. We've got try list A to F.
Yeah.
We don't know what we're doing.
Oh, we had trial FF as well last week. You must be doing the rounds.
What's Claire put again?
Workington. Something about Workington.
It was all right. Ground was all right. I had a nice burger and chips before I got there as well.
There
Yeah,
we go.
Claire, you football ground snob. Just because you're in League One now, don't come
No,
and
I'm
mess
so
with
sorry
us
about this
little
league
ones.
not anymore. That's it.
Where's Claire from again?
I know. I really want to know a reply now.
I want to
Great name
know.
for a childless family.
I want to know why Claire hates Workington so much.
I know.
Like, there's got to be something, isn't there?
You mean to play
Went there one time, fell over. Daisy was sick in
But, all
car.
right.
Daisy was sick in car. What's she put?
There we go.
Right. You need to read it in her accent now. And
Because it's an asshole to get to. So that's not Workington's fault, is it? It's a bad place because of the place it's got to pass to get there.
quality.
It's going to smack me right in the face on Saturday. All right, I'm bang it.
Joe was put in the chat about Tranmere Rovers. There's some Tranmere news. We have signed Cameron Norman, Sam Finlay, Josh Davison, who scored 2 balls against Preston North End, Sol Solomon, I love that name.
Solomon.
Sol Solomon, and Josh Williams, both of which are brilliant prospects for the Welsh Prem.
It'd be good
So-
if Sol Solomon's middle name would be Solo. So it'd be Sol Solomon.
We are now linked with Ethan Bristow, Declan
Eric.
Drysdale. No, that Wolves Academy goalkeeper, which is really good. Amari Patrick, I think. Oh, I knew a Wolves Academy goalkeeper. Might be him. Won't mention his name either. And Matt Pennington. I hope we improve our squad, especially at the back.
I could be wrong, but I think Matt Pennington could have been a ex-Everton under-21 player. Like the name
might be
sounds
right, yeah.
familiar.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's definitely played for Everton. Pennington. I'm sure he played first team in the League Cup or something. 'Cause I remember his name.
Good fellow, John.
Yeah.
There's always one
There
that
he
has to mention it. Dietrich in the chat as well. She's obviously our Bradford fan. She has put, we've signed a few players so far. Callum Johnson from Mansfield, Aidan Baldwin from Notts County, Anthony Sarcevic and Neil Byrne from Stockport. Cheers, Claire. And Tyreek Wright from Plymouth.
Oh, Anthony Sarcevic will never escape League Two, I'm convinced. but-
Never. Never.
It's in his contract, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's released straight away.
It has to. I didn't realise this as well. Obviously, he signed for Chesterfield now from Stockport, but Claire's poor Paddy Madden has picked up a bad knee injury in pre-season. Bless him. Oh,
That's not
gutted. I like Paddy Madden, to be fair. Very good player. Very good player.
You've got to think as well, he's probably gone to Chesterfield for a little bit of money as well as in
Yeah.
wages, and then they've got to pay his wages now from sat on his arse, not doing anything. But to be fair, especially at his age as well, like a bad knee injuries, it's not good. But fingers crossed, he's okay.
Definitely. Dietrich's put as well, quite a few players have left, including Matty Platt to Notts County. There are a few players who went away with the lads on the pre-season tour of Austria, haven't signed them yet. Claire has said as well, Sars is a I know he's a right hard worker. Fair sub for us usually, but always reliable.
Oh, I'm
And
sure
Dietrich's just saying thanks.
Dietrich must be devastated that Ash Taylor's gone as well. That's just going to end her summer, I'm sure. What a player.
What? Don't even get me started on him.
Oh, man alive. One
Ash
of the worst
Taylor or
players I've
Don
ever
Love,
seen.
who's the worst?
Oh,
Jen?
jeez. I've not seen
Ash
Donald
Taylor.
Love, but it must be Ash Taylor or anybody is the right choice for that.
I don't know how he's still playing
Yes.
football, to be honest.
I don't think he is. I think he gave up years ago. It's a dreadful. It's gone to like Gibraltar or something now, I think. Yeah, mental.
Just on League Two as well, does anybody want to talk about any other League Two clubs? Is anyone impressed with the business so far? Does anyone think anyone will struggle?
He got his hand up.
And
Yes, I know we hate mentioning Salford, but I think Salford's done magnificent.
Very good. Very
yeah,
good.
I mean, they've signed Ben Woodburn today. And, like, he's like, remember when he was like first like getting onto the scene? I think was he in the same academy team as Trent? I'm fairly sure he was.
Yeah, I think he was.
Everyone was saying
Pretty
he was
sure he
going to be the
was.
next big thing, and it hasn't quite worked out for him. But you know, him going there, I mean, that's class. They've made some really, really good signs. I mentioned before, obviously, you know, Matty Young from Sunderland, and I honestly firmly believe he will play for England. And I'm not just saying that, like, he's just got everything for being a top quality goalkeeper. He's only 17. You get season there, be meant. But they've signed Cole Stockton from Burton as well, and Cole Stockton scores goals in League One. What's he going to be doing in League Two? I think he'll score. I think he'll be the League Two top scorer, to be honest.
Cole Stockton is like probably one of the best players in League Two. He's the reason that we survive sometimes. So I want him to do well.
Bounds of goals. Then but he scores goals from like he can score in the box, outside the box, just all sorts, can't he? He's just a proper good striker. So I think they'll be good. But and then obviously we mentioned. Don't think I've mentioned Doncaster yet, but obviously Doncaster as well. Considering how far they came from behind last season, if they can start the season better, I think they'll be okay as well. But
Billy Sharp, haven't they? Doncaster.
Yes, they have signed Billy Sharp. Yeah, I'm trying to like talk and then sort of flick me little screen up towards Doncaster, but I've gone past it now. I'm on through. I just saw Don Love again. I was like, yes.
Instead of one love, Don Love.
Yeah.
You'll have to think of a chance we'll get it going in Clayton then.
You'll have to stand it like that as well.
And feel all right.
Well, yeah, even like Doncaster, if they start well, I think they'll be okay. And obviously, looking at Chesterfield as well, like they're obviously the favourites, aren't they, to go? But I mean, looking at Salford, I think Salford will be up there and thereabouts. If they get Cole Stockton, I think that's a great signing. That
I wasn't overly convinced with Salford until they then decided out of nowhere to sign Ben Woodburn. I mean, he had that standard of being like the next Gareth Bale and all this shit, but he got injured and loan moves didn't quite work out for him. Weirdly, I like chucked a thing out on social media just talking about the signing, and every single person, and well, I say every single person, at least a good 3/4 of them were like, "Nah, he's shit. He's crap," because he doesn't provide goals and assists and stuff. But he used to play as a winger. He's more of a midfielder now, and he does all like the defensive work. So to transition that much and still have 7 goal contributions in a championship, you'd imagine he'll do well in League Two.
Yeah, and he probably needs somewhere where he's going to be loved. You know what I mean? Like to find a place. It happens with players, they lose the way sometimes, and they need to go to a club where they're going to be loved and all that. And this is a permanent sign, and he's near home as well. So obviously, like obviously, the match, I'm a million miles away from Liverpool. I think that's all right. I really do.
He said in his interviews when he joined the club that a good reason why he joined is obviously Ryan Giggs is part owner. He was Wales manager when he called Ben Woodburn up, and he has 11 Wales caps and whatnot. And Carl Robinson, the Salford manager, Ben Woodburn's played under Carl Robinson when they were at Oxford. So there's a little bit of place there as well.
See you Saturday, Claire. But yeah, I mean, like I say, looking at that, it could if he fires off, Stockton will score at least 15 goals, you would say. And then, as I mentioned before, if Matty Young is as good as what I've been making him out to be, which I'm sure he will be, they'll be all right at the back. So it's kind of got all that ingredients for being a good, strong team. So we'll see. We'll see.
I think the only thing that didn't convince me is that they've lost a lot of players. Elliot Watt, they've lost. I don't remember his bloody name now. He's more of a defensive midfielder than Elliot Watt. I don't remember his name, but they've lost a lot of that core, like the team that got them in the playoffs a couple of seasons ago. And albeit their campaign last season was atrocious by that standard, and they've got proven players who can have either done really well in this division or have shown prospects that they can be like world class. So it's not bad replacements by any stretch. I think the interesting thing will be how they kind of change that midfield, because it was so orientated between two players, and now they've both left, to where it'll be interesting to see how they change shape. Well, if they change shape, or what personnel they bring in. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Ben Woodburn will play where Elliot Watt was playing. It'll be an interesting thing to look at. I think the team that's impressed me the most, I mean, the obvious call is Port Vale. Signings they've made is unreal. That squad they've got right now would comfortably stay up in League One. I feel that squad would comfortably stay up in League One, but it's a lot down to Darren Moore. Obviously, like the connections he's got, some of the players that he's brought in, he's managed with at higher levels. That's the obvious call. The one I've been really impressed with, and I don't think many people have mentioned it, is Gillingham. They haven't made loads of signings by any stretch of the imagination, but the problem they had last season is that they couldn't score, or they couldn't consistently and reliably score. They brought in Elliot Nevett, who did stupidly well for Crewe last season. Upwards of near 20 goals. Jack Nolan, who, if I'm not mistaken, got 30 goal contributions last season. They brought in a winger as well. I can't quite remember his name, but he looks absolute quality for this division. And if the manager can get all those players fitting in a system, they can actually play what was supposed to be counter-attacking football efficiently. Because the one thing they didn't have is pace. They had a bunch of 6'4", 6'5" strikers that couldn't run for shit. Now they've got like Jack Nolan. I've watched him play twice now last season. He can run over Buddy Damon. Quality player. And I think though what they've done is they've seen the problem they had last season. They've addressed it brilliantly. Same thing with Notts. They brought in some really good defenders and a really good goalkeeper in Alex Bass to sort out their defensive problems. It looks like both of those teams will look a lot more balanced going into next season.
Gillingham signed Marcus Willey as well from Enfield Town. Scored 34 goals in 49 appearances to get him promoted last season to National League South. So, he's used to going up. Is old Willie. Willie might do it again.
See, now you'll realise the maturity of people on this podcast, because we're all smiling and laughing at that. Everyone's laughing because this bloke's last name is Willie.
Yeah, no, I was just laughing at. I was laughing at Danny saying he loves going up. That's what I was laughing at. I wasn't
Going up,
It'll be a stiff test for him at Gillingham, you've got to say, but hopefully is up to the task. It doesn't balls it up.
I realised that joke had a lot more depth in it than I was expecting.
Willie's on the up, Willie's on the up. Oh, that's killed me off. That was so funny. What are your thoughts? And obviously, I can't go now. Bromley came up from National League, didn't they? What are we thinking about Bromley? Made some quite good signings, to be fair, so far.
I love Andy Woodman. He's a legend at our place. I probably mentioned him last season. He winds everyone else up, but he's absolutely loved here. You might have heard from him on the BBC's coverage of the Euros final, because he's Gareth Southgate's best man at his wedding. And they wrote a book together called Woody and Nord. So years ago when Southgate was still a player, I think. But Woody is such a top bloke, and I only want the best for him, because the job he's done there has been phenomenal. So it's just a legend. I want him to manage us one day. We had a Wembley reunion at 25 years of the 97 final, and he came to it and I said, will you manage us one day? He said, yeah, we want nothing more than that. So I hope he does well, because then we might be in for him eventually. But yeah,
I-
he's doing a great job.
I think he's a top quality manager. What he did at Bromley, he developed that club and everything over what was it? It was like 2, 3, 4 seasons. He developed that club to be sustainable enough to get out of the. Get it? Because the lack of wheels. That's funny. Yeah. The thing that I really like about kind of Andy Woodman and the way he plays football, it's not pretty football by any stretch. You don't watch it and you go, that's really nice to watch, but it works.
Yeah.
And I think that the football he played with Bromley, and it really, you kind of watched it. It was kind of when they were in the playoff final, it was very physical football, very demanding and whatnot. That suits League Two perfectly.
Yeah.
So, and their signings, they've not made loads of them, but I think they fit into Andy Woodman's system brilliantly. In terms of the signing that Luke doesn't, is it Denanga? Is that if I'm not mistaken? Yeah. The strike. He was on the back end of what? It was nearly nearly a 30-goal season, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Unreal season, and I understand it's quite a big jump up, but I generally think they'll comfortably, again, we won't go into predictions, but I think they'll comfortably stay up. I don't think they'll be in too much bother. I think Andy Woodman will be a top tier League Two coach, if not a League One coach in the next 2-3 seasons. And even more so if he can keep this upward trajectory of Bromley going. If he can keep them up next, this season, and then the following season, he can slightly improve on that pass position. I think he's a top tier manager. I think kind of the way he kind of portrays himself, he winds everyone up, but that's what you want in a lower tier EFL manager.
Yeah,
I think he just fits the job perfectly, and his style of football will probably suit League Two.
Yeah.
Any other clubs we want to quickly talk about? I know obviously we've been on here quite a long time, but is there any more standouts or?
I've found where the 2 Everton under-21 players have gone. So Chiarte has gone to Barrow, so a good striker that they've signed there, and then Mackenzie Hunt has gone to Fleetwood.
That's the other way around then.
Speaking of Barrow, I was about to say with Barrow, I don't really know what to think of their pre-season, and just like the signings, things like that. I feel like with Barrow, and I'm not going into it, but I think they could struggle this season. I don't think they've really recruited well. I think obviously they've lost a lot of players. Obviously the manager as one. That was massive, wasn't it? With Pete Wild, I think that's just from that, I think they were going to always struggle. But I just think with Barrow, and I don't want to say it because I do like Barrow, but I just feel like not going to be a good one for them.
I don't think it'll be a good one. They've got Stephen Clements, who he didn't impress at Gillingham. Gillingham they were towards the top 3 when he came into that club. He took them out of the playoffs, despite how defensively stable that team was, and the fact that he probably, if he didn't change much off of the back end of what Neil Harris did, he probably would have got them into those kind of top 7 spots. But he's come in with a lack of experience into a squad that's been absolutely decimated. Ben Whitfield's gone. George Ray's gone. Like an instrumental part of how good they were last season. But the only signing I've seen that I think it is actually a relatively good bit of business is Conor Mahoney. He signed on a permanent from Huddersfield. I think that's a really good signing. Just out of he's played under Stephen Clements, obviously at Gillingham, and albeit for a poor attacking Gillingham side, I think he got something along the lines of 10 goal contributions, which isn't atrocious. But to be honest with you, I don't want to go. I'm not going to say where I think they'll finish, but I'll say I think they'll be a lot closer to relegation than where they were last season. But I think that transition, because obviously now Pete Wild's gone, they're in such a transition period now, and I don't think they've got the right man for the job, because I don't think he's experienced enough to stabilise that team under what is such a high demand of departing players and whatnot. Not convinced at all.
I'm going to put it out here. I personally think it'll be a very similar situation and I'm not saying off the field, but like on the pitch, I think it'll be very similar to when Keefill obviously left Rochdale and then the downfall kind of thing. And the transition, we didn't get that transition right at the time. And I feel it'll be very similar with Barrow. And I'm not going to say like they'll have the off like the field like things like we did, obviously what it got to. But yeah, I just feel like it'll be very similar.
Yeah,
it was same as what we were saying about Stevenage earlier, wasn't it? About you lose everything that made that squad good, because was everything that made them fight above their level almost, and be the underdog. Everything that made them that good was led by the manager. The same as Pete Wild, same as Steve Evans. I do worry a little bit for Cheltenham as well without Darryl Clark, because I know they went down, but they finished the season so well. To get out of where they were to even get to in touching distance of staying up was phenomenal. And with him gone now to Barnsley, I think it is. And it could go either way with Michael Flynn. I know he's a good League Two manager. I mean, Kieran, you'll know a lot more about him than most people, but again, it's they had such a good period of time when they were fighting against the odds that you have that spirit. You build it up, and then suddenly it's gone. It's really difficult to recapture that again. Maybe it'll be slightly different for Cheltenham because they're basically starting from a blank sheet, but for the likes of Barrow, you do worry about that kind of momentum being lost a little bit.
The words were that Pete Wild apparently left the club, and this was according to a Barrow forum that is usually, from what I've read, it's usually pretty reliable. Apparently, the reason that Pete Wild left the club is because the board wasn't going to back him enough to follow through on last season. So, when you're mentioning that the owners don't have that kind of faith to give you that little bit more of a financial boost and whatnot, then you've always got to be questioning: is there something going on that we're not aware about? But yeah, I agree very much with Cheltenham. I feel like it'll almost be like what you saw with Accrington when they came down from League One. It won't be necessarily fighting for promotion. It'll be a little bit of inconsistency. You'll see some bright patches, but overall it'll kind of just be stabilizing yourself in the division first, built, and then building off of that. I love Michael Flynn, but it doesn't take much to admit that his last two managerial jobs, one of them potentially not overly his fault, because there were other surrounding issues that were bigger than the management worry at that time. I'm sure you'll know which one of the two clubs I'm talking about, but you can't deny that those two jobs didn't go his way. And the thing that I like about what he's done at Cheltenham, he's brought in a lot of the players that were part of that Newport squad that did really well. He's brought in Joe Day, Scott Bennett, Ryan Hayes. Those kind of players are the ones that he trusts. So he's building some form of foundation. I do question if he's signing players a bit too late in their careers for them to have the same impact. But I feel it'll be a relatively stable season for them, but I don't expect them to be fighting promotion by any stretch.
Oh, it's been a long one tonight, hasn't it? It's been a long one. I can see a lot of tired faces. So,
just seen poor Rebecca yawning a couple of times there. Bless her.
I know. It has been a long one. Everyone's been a trooper tonight, even everyone in the chat. So thank you so much for
even the special guest appearance of Jet Banana.
I know.
I just gotta say, I went to Cardiff.
Kieran, don't, man! I've got to go.
I went to Cardiff today. We walked into a pound shop. I saw this bloody stretchable banana thing, and I went, "This will be funny," and it was worth it. It was worth the £1.
It was. I love it.
How much it was in Poundland?
It was £1 in Poundland. Believe it or not.
Wow.
But yeah, because it has been a long one, and obviously we've had to get through so much tonight, I do know we haven't done our regular segment, so Jeff will be we'll have to do that next week, unfortunately, because it has been so long, and I know some people obviously here do have to go.
I had Jack Horsfield ready and everything.
Or we could do it as actually, do you know what? We'll do it on Twitter. So what we'll do tomorrow, probably sometime in the afternoon, everyone here now, if you send a Jeff that you want in, we'll do our own
I've
Jeff.
got one straight away.
Jeff
Whitley.
Summit.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
Jeff
what we'll
Whitley.
do,
Unbelievable.
So what we'll do
Jeff
in our
Capes.
group chat, you can all
Capes.
send me your Jeff, and anyone obviously in the chat now, if you want to send me your favourite Jeff, it doesn't have to be a footballer, it can be absolutely anyone. Please send them through. I will put it on Twitter, and then we will decide our Jeff 11, because obviously, like I said, it has been a long one tonight. But thank you so much for bearing with us. We have got through a lot. And where can everybody find you if they want
I
to?
always feel pressure doing this when Rebecca's on because she always nails it. But there.
Danny, where can everybody find you?
I got this so wrong last night, so I'm probably going to do it again. Yeah, there we go.
Yay!
At Cobblers Me is our podcast, all about Northampton Town men and women. At Danny Brothers, if you want to find me personally. Franny Jeffers.
Oh, what a player. Francis Jeffers, unbelievable.
Kieran, where can everybody find you?
There. Yeah,
Mood.
Kieran UTC. Sorry, guys, I'm just professional. This, come on, every bastard week now. Yeah, Kieran UTC on just about every other social media. And again, I'll reiterate this background and this background only, and my wheelless chair.
Rebecca?
You can find me here with the many, many, many underscores.
Jen, where can everybody find you?
Anywhere on social media, it's just Jen Hunt _ on anything. I'm everywhere.
And if anybody wants to find me, I am SharXRAFC. That is on Twitter. It is on TikTok. I'm hopefully going to be starting up some of my football blogging again as well. So if anybody is interested, at the minute, I'm looking for female fans just to talk about their experiences. So far, I want to link it with her game too and what I used to write for the Rochdale programme. So Jen, Rebecca, if you want to take part, please do. I need them. And then hopefully it'll be a lot more other stuff. But yeah, I will get to the most important ones. The Absolute Football Podcast. Hopefully, we will be having a few more cartoon faces added to this as more and more people join. We need a lovely Jen. We need our lovely Ben as well, rhyming. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. But yeah, on Twitter, we are Absolute Ball Pod. On YouTube and Twitch, we are we are Absolute Football Podcast. It's because I'm getting tired. On TikTok, we are Absolute Football Pod. On Instagram and Threads, if you still do Threads, we are Absolute Football Podcast _. On Facebook, we are the Absolute Football Podcast. On Mondays, we are back to our Premier League show, and then it will be our European show as well. On Wednesdays is our WSL and Women's Championship show. And then on Thursdays, it is our lower league show. We start at 8:30 p.m. every single time we're on. Next week, me and Ben will be joined by some fantastic guests as well. It will be our National League preview show. I think Spenny fan Chris is joining us too. So hopefully, fingers crossed. We've got a few more. So we will be doing the same as we have tonight, but it will be National League South, National League North. I said South. And then obviously the week after, as I have mentioned, I am not going to be on hosting. It is my sister's wedding on the Friday, so I've got a lot to do helping her get ready. I know. She will kill me otherwise. She will. Not literally though. She's not a murderer. I just want to put that out there. I don't want it to be a Netflix documentary.
Oh God.
So yeah, our very own Sam will be on. He will be doing a prediction show. So anyone in the chat as well, please put it in your notes, write it down, send it to us, and you can put it in the chat. We'll be doing predictions for obviously the EFL leagues and the National League leagues also. But yeah, thank you so much again to everybody. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and ta-ta for now.